listening to the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
And that's right. You are listening to the Gettin Salty Experience podcast. I can do the radio voice too, Pete. You know what I mean? You're not the only guy. Welcome back. Oh, audio file. Welcome back to the Gettin Salty Experience podcast. We are the ones, the only ones, who bring you the Firehouse Kitchen Table. Straight, true to lines, true to the internet, right into wherever you are. At the Firehouse, pops up on your computer or your phone. You're sitting at the kitchen table at the Firehouse. Now you're sitting at our kitchen table. We're there, you're here. We're there, you're here. That's how we do it. Best guests in the world. Best show in the world. Self-proclaimed again. Yeah. And we are back. That's all I got.
We're soon to have more subscribers than the Joe Rogan Experience, I'm hearing.
Well, that's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hoping for. Maybe a quarter, maybe a third.
I'd be happy with just all the firemen signing up. That's it.
Yeah, I don't know why we can't have that. Every fireman knows another fireman. So if you tell one fireman to tell another fireman, pretend it's a rumor about Pete or something, and it'll spread like wildfire.
Yeah.
Then you won't have a problem with spreading it.
Yeah.
It's very easy. It's free. You don't got to do nothing. Call a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually, with knowing that I was talking to Kev about this today, knowing that there's 1 million firefighters, that's just roughly on duty in the United States, and knowing that we got about 26,000 plus 20, maybe 27, somewhere in that subs, that's good. I'm not mad at that. We could have, but we're a little walls. Yeah, we're 975,000 short.
Yeah. Not to mention retired guys. So come on, man.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Come on, you semi-fascists.
Hit the button.
Oh.
Whoa. Here we are.
What did I do?
Hey, welcome to the show. Welcome back. Welcome to another episode of the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
I just got excited. I hit the button.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I want to thank, I want to thank all the people that turned out at 288 for this 9/11. It was a good turnout again, man. We had a whole bunch of people I didn't even know from Las Vegas and some other people, but we also had Gonzo Jose, Sammy Peters, and Johnny Gagliano came to the Firehouse and joined us for a drink or two.
And they bought around.
Yeah, they did. Well, Pete wasn't there, so he couldn't buy us around. Not that he would have if he could have, but he didn't. Yeah. You know what happened? Something happened with his thumb. Correct. Something happened with his thumb, and he couldn't reach it into the. I don't know what happened. He didn't make it.
What was one of those nudniks saying that they have to get a Halligan out to break into my wallet,
maybe
pry the wallet or whatever? Yeah, cut it. Yeah, that's what it was. Gons was saying that I had to cut into my wallet to get into it because it's sewn shut, and that's how I hurt my finger.
Yeah, maybe. I went to the Yankee game on Saturday with Gonzo, Jose, my wife, and my two boys, my younger boys.
And how was that?
It's good. I'm not a Yankee fan, but it was good. Had a nice day. Any day at the ballpark with your boys. Yeah, they won big. Any day at the ballpark with your boys is a good day, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I can't stand driving to Yankee Stadium. It drives me nuts. Parking over there.
We go early. No, we go early. We my wife books the parking spot on an app. I pull right in. Bing, bam. We're in. We're out like Czechoslovakia.
Where was Mrs. Procacci's husband? Where was he?
He couldn't come because it was his son's birthday.
I'll let him slide.
I'll let him slide on that one. Yeah,
that makes sense.
All right, before we get into all the shenanigans, I have something I would like to say about 9/11. I didn't get a chance to say it yesterday. I probably should have to the new guys. This is really directed at the new guys in the Firehouse. Because, Ruff, how many guys did you run into this? Like, who are you? Like,
a lot of guys.
So many, and he's only out, what, a year and a half? 3 years? It is that much?
Coming up on 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm out 9 years. So you can imagine the turnover. So I should really direct it at them because we talked about it a little bit. How, especially the 2 weeks before, a week before, that day, a couple of days after, everybody is, don't forget. No, never forget. Never forget. Never forget. Never forget. Everybody's all over the place. Never forget. Never forget. And what I wanted to say to these guys was that's not just a catchphrase. You have to live that. You have to do it. You have to. Your job is to teach the next guys coming in who those guys were, what they stood for, and they should know the names. When I was a senior man, I would hand out the writing. The boss would let me hand out the writing positions. I would give it to the guy who could tell me the most about who on that wall. Who was this guy? Give me this guy. Where was he from? they would know these guys and feel like they personally knew these guys, and that would reward them by they could pick whatever position they wanted. So I wanted to tell the new guys they should do something like that. They should know who these guys are, not just walk by the wall and see a name on the wall. They should know who they are, what they stood for, what they did for this company. And also,
in the end, every time they go out, they represent those guys.
Yeah, right. Every time they get on that rig,
you represent yourself and the company, but you represent the past.
Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to say is you need to start teaching your kids about it, what really happened, not only at the Trade Center, but in Pennsylvania, in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, at the Pentagon, and everything involved in that. And it's up to you as a parent to pass that information on to these kids and let them know what happened that day, what we stood for that day, and everything involved in that. So what really inspired me was that my 10-year-old son, how old is Lucas? 10, 11?
Going to be 12.
He's going to be 12. I was close. So he's going to be 12. And he put together a video. And I didn't ask him for it. He just surprised me with it on Monday morning. And I understood the grasp that he knows I did my job of teaching him what happened. So Pete, draw it up. It's really quick.
Here we go.
Seen through the eyes of a 12-year-old. So do your duty. Tell your kids about what happened and make them understand. That's all.
I touched on that. Did you see the tree at the end there? It went through that quick, but that tree still, that was the one tree that survived.
Yeah.
The survivor tree, I think they call it.
That's it. Yeah. Even though about that. I mean, I just want to say a quick thing. Every year is a little different. This year was a little rough for me personally. Maybe it was the Jay Jonas episode leading into 9/11 that set me off. I have a real hard time with 9/11, as most people do, and I remember, and I will never forget. And it was great again to be welcomed by the folks at Squad 288, Hazmat One. So I wanted to extend a personal thanks to everyone there who, despite I don't know anything about the fire service or whatever, it made me feel like I was at home. And seeing you two Onyx, your names on the founders plank there up there at the top, it says Kubler, Refrano, all these names that I know from the show. It makes me really proud to be a part of this thing that we're doing. Have people coming up to us and talking about it, and you see how important it is to them that we create this show that's like a bit of a time capsule. So, it made the day a little bit easier for me, at least in the morning, being with you guys. And thank you for having me there, to you guys and also to 288. It really means a lot for me because it gives me kind of a home to go to on 9/11, and it's always a tough day for me, but this year I was really dragging. So thanks to everybody at 288.
I want to say two things. Chief Corrado, he runs the whole ceremony for the most part. He was a charter member there. He was a lieutenant there, fireman there, lieutenant there. And then he came back. I think he worked in the hazmat. I always forget. It's a little blurry, but he runs the whole thing and he does a great job. So I just wanted to mention him because that's my boy. And
he does a good job.
There was one funny part yesterday. So Kev was saying that we run into people, you're not really sure who that guy is. So there was a guy sitting on the house watch, and we were just about leaving. And I look over, and it's Mike Monaco from the hazmat. And I'm like, "Hey, Mike, I didn't see you. How's things?" And I look at him, and I'm like, "Looks totally different. Like I can't even figure out what's going on." I'm like, "Dude, did you lose?" Like he lost weight. I'm like, "What'd you lose? You must have lost a lot of weight. You look good, He's like, "Yeah." And I grew hair on my head. So I'm like, he's got this fucking full head of hair, like a full head. I'm like, and he was bald.
So I'm like, how'd that fucking guy do that, bro? What's that up?
Shit, I start rolling.
Yeah, Kev's like, what'd you do? The Rogaine? Did you put the 19 slide on the 17 frame? What'd you do?
Yeah, he had a full head of hair. He just used to shave it.
Shave it all the time.
all the time. I
Yeah.
mean, down to skin.
Yeah.
So it was just so funny, and it was just like boing, and like it was just all over the place.
It
It
looked
was
like
just
he combed his hair with a
freaking-
firecracker, first of all. Yeah.
I was just taking. Like, I'm only out of there a couple of years, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what the hell's
He
going on? I
lost
couldn't
he lost another person, first of all. He lost like
Yeah, he was a heavy
over
guy,
100
so-
pounds. Yeah.
But
there you
that's
go.
pretty funny with the
Divorce will do that to you when you're back out in the field. You know what I mean? Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. it'll do. So listen, to sew this thing up, never forget the guys on 9/11. It's okay to forget how old your third child is, but don't forget the guys on. Now my other guys look at me. All right, Pete. So do
All
the
right.
thing that you do best. Bro.
Yeah,
Do
real
it.
quick, guys, we just get to pay the bills around here. We bring you the number one sponsors in the fire service, in the fire game. And tonight, as always, we bring you New Jersey Fire Equipment Company. Established in 1930 and under the current ownership since 1987, the New Jersey Fire Equipment Company handles a complete line of fire department equipment and supplies. Headquartered in Greenbrook, the company operates full 3M Scott service facilities in Ridgefield Park and Toms River, staffed by 10 fully authorized Scott certified technicians with a fleet of 6 fully equipped service vans. All New Jersey fire technicians and sales representatives are active or retired firefighters, officers or chief officers, career and volunteer. They understand the business and the importance of their work. New Jersey Fire has represented Scott since Earl Scott entered the SCBA business at the end of World War II. Among other leading manufacturers represented by New Jersey Fire are Globe and Firedex Turnout Gear, Mercedes Hose, Task Force Tips and Akron Brass, Hygenol, Fire Hooks, Arctic Compressors, MSA Carnes Helmets, ChemGuard Foam, Alkalite and Duo Safety Ladders, BA Face Shield Protectors, Truckman's Choice Saws, Grove's Gear Racks and Washer Dryers, Supervac Fans, RPI, Streamlight, and many others. A New Jersey incorporated and based company, sales and service are limited to the state of New Jersey. Find us now at www.njfe.com. That's www.njfe.com. Okay, and real quick, guys, gettinsaltyapparel.com, where you will find things like this beautiful tumbler right here that I'm drinking my drink out of, or the hat Louis wearing, or the I didn't forgive shirt that Kevin's wearing right now. Head on over there to support us and support the show. Also, guys, if you want to hit us up in the super chat, it's always great that you guys are our number one sponsors and number one syndicators. You're the ones who talk about us, show us around, repost our stuff. So, if you want to hit us up in the super chat, you can. Couple shekels, no worries. And the super thanks is kind of like YouTube's version of a Patreon. So if you want to hit us up in the super thanks, do that as well. That's it, boys. We are good. Let's get this guy in here, man. I feel like, he's aged significantly since we
I like
started
his
the show.
name, bro. He has. Yeah, man.
Yeah, we got to get him in here, man.
I like Chief's name, Chief Butch. Bring in Chief Butch.
Butch.
Hey, Butch.
All right, Chief, ladies and gentlemen, Jersey City Deputy Chief Butch Cobb. Hey, there he is.
We like those Jersey guys.
What do you say, Chief? How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Did you take a nap on that bed over there? What were you doing?
I don't say anything about aging, all right? I'm 74. I'm done aging.
Okay,
Boy,
okay.
you look good. I didn't think you were a day over 73. You look
What,
great.
you have a tough paper out or something? Oh, we had him with
Yeah,
What
that.
are
we-
you drinking?
you
What are
know.
what are you drinking there, Chief Cobb?
Little iced tea.
Oh, anything in it? Special?
Is it from Long Island?
No?
Oh, look at Petey.
Oh, yeah, I like
Uh-huh.
little iced tea, yeah.
All right, cool. Well, we're gonna get to this and then the word of the day. But first things first, guys, we
Do
have
it,
to
Pete.
do the pledge
Do it.
because before Susie
We are a
loses her gotcha.
patriotic bunch here.
Yeah,
Do it.
we are, man.
love our country.
Love our country, ladies and gentlemen. As always, the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right.
Gets me
Very
every
good.
time, man. It reminds me of Saving Private Ryan. It really does.
That's what I was going for.
Oh, it
And
does, actually.
what?
I
Yeah,
like it.
like when in the beginning where you have
Yep.
the flag waving with the background there. And also, guys, last but not least, we're gonna get to this interview. I promise you, it's the word of the day. And tonight, the word of the day is Jersey Devil.
Chief, you're a hockey fan.
So cool. It touches your lips.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah,
What are
You like the Devils?
absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Hey,
These Rangers
and
fans.
I'm a Mets fan, so you know.
Oh, all right.
Now you're talking my
Ah.
language. Now you're talking my language.
There you
Beautiful.
go. There you go.
All right, Pete. Let's do that thing where we go back. Let's go back.
Way
Way
back.
back. Back at the time. We got to get that, Pete. Can you find that song? Let's go back.
But, I got it. Maybe I have a
Back
little
in time.
theme music for going back into time. Let's see. I don't know.
Maybe you got the.
Going back into time.
Wow.
Tonight. Audio file. Back into the Chief's life.
Let's go back.
So,
to Chief's life.
tell me, Chief, when was the first time you kissed a girl? At 25? No, never mind. Get that
All right.
shit out of here.
Yeah,
All right,
no, bro.
come on, let's get serious.
wasn't
We're gonna go
Pete.
back. It was good. Let's go back to 1965 to 1967. Ruffy, we weren't even born yet. Did you? He said he was old. Who said he was old? I didn't say he was old, but now I'm thinking he might be old. The unofficial junior fireman at Dumont Fire Department in Jersey, because you couldn't be a firefighter until you were 21. Is that correct?
Yeah. So, but I had kind of some unofficial duties in Engine 1. Like my dad was there. I used to go down there with all his friends. I'd clean hose, do the engine cleanup on Sunday. So I was there all the time, and they kind of dubbed me their junior fireman. But, when I graduated high school in 67, I still couldn't be a fireman. And I joined the Army. I figured when I get back, I'll be 21 and I could head for my dream. Yeah.
Not a bad plan, except that Vietnam was raging, so they sent you over there.
Yeah. I did basic at Fort Dix. I did some training. Yeah.
Oh wow, look at that. That's great.
Look at this bad mofo right here on the right and the left. But look at this guy. Hold on. Let me zoom in. Let's narrate.
Locked and loaded.
Locked and
Locked
loaded.
and loaded. Nice.
Look at him. He's got the LBE he's rocking there.
How
with the
many,
mag pouches.
how many zips did you kill that day?
Holy shit. He's got the 20 round mag and a carry handle M16. All right, Chief. All right, man.
And you see that strap around my leg? You see the strap around my leg? You know what that is?
You know what? Oh, gas mask?
mask.
I was going to say gas mask.
They used to lob. They used to lob tear gas at us.
Yeah. And what do you got there? A compass pouch. I'm looking at all your gear. A flak jacket.
Yeah.
Bad mofo. A bad
Wow,
mofo.
that's great. That's a great dual picture. Who said that? The Chief said that? Or you did that?
Chief
Pete?
said that. Chief said
I
that.
actually found these two pictures, and as an app, you put things together, and
Where's your necklace with the zip ears that you cut off? Didn't they make necklaces out of those, bro?
And I got news for you. I was up. I spent some time in Pleiku with the 4th Infantry, and you know what? That's a true story.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I told you, Pete. You think I'm making that shit up? Come on.
Well, tell us about it. Who was collecting heirlooms there?
Listen, I wasn't walking in the jungle all the time because I was flying in a little spotter plane. But we had to do perimeter patrol around our little base. But we used to do a lot of missions for the 4th Infantry. Those guys were tough cookies. And yeah, you know what? It's war is funny. They do something to us, we do something to them, and that's what it was.
They were vicious, man.
Yeah, bro.
Man, like you wouldn't believe. But,
Punji pits with shit on the sticks and all the crap that they used to do. It's awful stuff.
I got to throw something in while I enlisted. I came from a patriotic family. My father and his brothers, his 4 brothers, the Cobb brothers, between them, they have close to 100 years in the Army, Air Force, and Navy.
Wow. I got to give you this for that. That is
all except for my dad. My dad did, I think, 5 years in the Navy, got wounded on the Yorktown, but his brothers all stayed 20, 23, 25 years. And you know what? For me, I had to do it. You know, it was just part of my DNA. I had to go.
Well,
thank you and your entire family.
yeah, welcome home, sir. That's it.
Thank
Good
you.
for
Thank
you. You have any really quick stories in Vietnam you want to share that you're allowed to share, or is it...
Well, you know, they're all kind of tragic. I mean, the first night I was there,
nothing good, man. Nothing
yeah,
good.
we landed in Benoit. First night I was there, we got hit with a bunch of rockets, and it killed about 5 or 6 guys. But you know, here's what I found out right away: all the rockets landed in and around the mess tents. They killed cooks and porters, and the whole war was like that. They did stuff to irritate us. They used to mortar our bathrooms. You know, we had these outhouses we built.
Right.
Anything to, you know, every time
Make
they
your
threw
life more miserable than it already was.
And you know, so we ate sea rations when I did that. They rebuilt it, and but that was, you know, that was pretty much it. But you know what? I was one of these guys. You're infallible. Nothing happened to me. And then, you know, the worst story. I was flying in a small plane called an OV-1 Mohawk. Got shot up, caught on fire. I'm sitting as close as 2 chairs would be next to each other, and the cockpit filled with smoke. We put our oxygen masks on and lost all instruments. We were down in some valley, and I thought this was it. You know, I actually had that moment of 5 seconds of flashing my life before me. I said, my mother's going to be pissed because she didn't want me to go.
That's a tough son of a gun right there.
I think I'm going to die in any second. I'm thinking about how pissed off my wife, my mom's going to be because she didn't want me to go. And you know, long story short, the smoke cleared a little bit in the cockpit. The pilot, Captain Hart, I'll never forget this guy. He stayed on course, came out of the valley, smoke cleared a little bit, and there was Papa Kilo, play cool off to our right, and he smashed it. We landed really hard, and jumped out, gave each other a hug, and you know what? It was like I found out in the fire service. You come back from the third alarm, you go back to the firehouse. We finished. We got picked up, got flown back by Huey to our base, and high-fived and hugged each other. You know, just like we did in the fire service. You know, we made it. We made a good job. We made a good grab. We put the fire. You know what? Smiles. We smiled and
Yeah.
The next day. So I kind of learned. I took so much from the Army in my experience in the Army. Man, I get guys saying, "Oh, the military shouldn't be in the fire service anymore." Bullshit. There should be more than military.
I agree with that 1,000%. 1,000%.
You just answered about 4 questions that I was going to ask you.
It's been a great show. We thank you for showing up and coming.
I say all the time, I would say that's probably the only profession other than the fire department where you don't have to see somebody for 30 years and then you see them and it's as if no time has gone by, right? You would just, if you spent time like you did with those guys and you met those guys after a long period, it would be as if no time went by, man. It would be smooth as silk.
We were there for a year. No cell phones, no contact with the outside world, nothing. And so, you know, when you talk about the brotherhood, we were as close as you could get instantly.
Right.
Because,
Right.
you know, it's like fire
That's
service.
all you had was each other, right? I mean, your back, my back.
Yeah. Can I tell one quick story real quick?
Absolutely.
Semi-coward. I mean, we'd be out in the bunkers at night, and every once in a while, the sappers would try to get through the wire. They had charges, they called sapper. And they try to throw them in, to blow up the plane. So, you know, one night it happens, and I got my M16 on automatic, and I don't put my head too far out of the bunker. I just raise my arms up, automatic, all the bullets are gone. I kept doing it. There were guys next to me from West Virginia and Kentucky. Single shot on the M16, stood up and lined up. And and I'm looking at these guys. You out of your freaking mind? But I was from New Jersey, not Kentucky, so these guys had balls like you wouldn't believe, really.
Kentucky windage at nighttime, no optics, no nothing, just shooting the M15.
They didn't care what was
Bad
coming
mofos, man. I gotta give it
like
to you.
Platoon, right? Like Platoon. It was like so many different guys. That was another movie that we watched when we were kids, right? Coops, we went to the movie. We saw that in the movies.
Yeah.
That was another one. Like one guy had the shotgun. He's going around. He didn't care about anything, and then everybody else was.
I gotta ask this question real quick, and then we'll move on. You know, culturally during that era, you know, all the shit that you dealt with as a vet at that time, and now, do you see similarities between then and now, or is it like totally different?
similarities, at least with the guys from Iraq and Afghanistan. You know, they're suffering the same way we do when we came back somewhat. Culturally, it's hard for me to determine. I just, coming back from Vietnam, I wiped out of my mind. I can't even think about it because you know what? I will freak out. I'll have to get up and walk around because you know what? I got spit on, yelled at, screamed at coming out of Fort Lewis, Washington. And my sergeant said to me, or the lieutenant, the young lieutenant said to me, as soon as you can, get out of your uniform. Because when you come back from Vietnam, they give you a brand new Class A uniform. They put all your medals on it or any bullshit. And he said, but get out of that as soon as possible. And I didn't know what the hell he was talking about.
Can you imagine, bro? What these people are thinking.
You know what it is, Coobs? And then I guess people over the years felt horrible about that, right? It was discussed. Yeah. And then all the guys that came back from all these things, have been, you see guys in the airport in fatigues or something, everybody's going up and saying, hey, thanks for your service. It's night and day compared to, it's I've changed my mind a little bit. I rode with a group of vets, about 75 of us, not too long ago, out to Ohio. There's a brand new, Illinois. There's a brand new wall for the Iraqi guys. They haven't built one yet, or whatever screwing up the government's doing about not putting one up. But so they built one there. So we all went, and there were, maybe 10 Vietnam veterans and the rest of the Iraqi guys and Afghanistan guys. Now we took about 8 days to get there, and it was, it was all kind of pre-planned. And you know what? I never paid for a meal. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We pulled into a town that had volunteered to feed us breakfast. A town that volunteered to, and then on top of everything else, I didn't pay for a drop of gas all the way across the heartland. People just donating money, and a couple companies paid for gas all the way there, not back, but just all the way there. And I'll tell you, I got there and I started to feel a little bit better. Patriotism's alive and well. Just not you know what? That's good to hear, Chief, because when you watch what's going on, sometimes you think that it's not, but I know it is. I know it is.
No, it is. Believe me. When you go through the heartland, you go, It is.
When we see you out in Ohio for the Firehouse Expo, we're going to take you out to dinner. I'm going to spend all of Louis' money like you ain't ever seen before.
All of it. Every penny.
We might even break into Pete's wallet.
Whoa.
I'll send a Venmo.
when you get out there, if you're around Wednesday night, after my induction into the Hall of Fame, I'm throwing a little party. I got about 30 people coming. My good friends that I've been on the speaking circuit with, and Pete Matthews and Johnny Salk will be there, and Billy Goldfield.
Never heard of him.
Stalker.
Louis, I like parties. I don't know about you.
So Welcome to Pepe, Wednesday night, 6:30.
Oh, make reservations, Roof. There's one night less. We got to make reservations for.
Nice.
All right, good.
Beautiful.
Anyway,
All right. Let's get back
Welcome
to
home
fire now.
and let's talk fire.
Let's
Nice.
talk fire.
Yeah, let's talk fire with this Jersey Devil.
Oh, wow. He's on his. What? Who is that guy up there, Roof?
Well, we talked about the military and guns and stuff, so he's excited.
I knew that would be the.
He woke up, right? All of a sudden, he's like, what? Guns?
Come on. You lobbed that one right up, Coop.
I do. Thank you. That's what we do. That's how we work, Roof. You know what I mean? All right, so you come back into 70 to 79. You work in the Dumont Volunteer Fire Department Energy Company 1.
Yeah.
From 70 to 79. In 78, you become the chief of that department.
Yeah.
So give us a little quick insight into that one.
I'm in 75, 72. I was the only career fireman there. And right about that time, the department was changing. It was always the older guys. The fire chief was always like the oldest guy, like the senior, who bought the most beers on Sundays when they had their meetings. And it was changing. The younger guys wanted some change. And they came to me. My father was an ex-chief. And they figured I must know a little bit more. Probably didn't, and they said, listen, when time comes, we want you to run for chief. So it was a bunch of young guys, some really good guys from across the tracks in independent holes, engine 4 and 5. There were a couple guys there that were, under the same, they thought the same thing. So, lo and behold, I was an assistant chief for a couple of years. And then I ran against one of the old guys for chief of department. And I won by 1 vote.
That's all you need.
Your
That's
vote.
all you need. His vote twice.
The young guys that put me up, I did everything they wanted because I thought it was right. Yeah. Look at the size of the portable.
Nice.
Nice,
Yes.
man.
You look like you come from Kentucky. I don't know.
I don't know. You
No, that could be Pennsylvaki, New Jersey. You know, when you get out into that Western Jersey, it's very similar to Kentucky.
Yeah.
Leather boots, a leather helmet, and 3/4 boots. Come on, that's got to be okay, right?
I like it. I like
That's okay. It's the tablecloth you're wearing for a shirt. That's got a problem.
Oh,
God.
Love this guy.
Dick.
oh.
So, you know, that's why they elected me, and engine 3, which was up there was four engines in a ladder truck and a light truck, and the guys in engine 3, which Mickey Conboy was in engine 3, they wanted to turn the light truck into a rescue, and for me to give it to them, and I did. I mean, the year I was in there, I took the light truck, I gave this independent hose on the other side of the tracks another engine. We bought an engine. I bought a fire engine for $99,000, a Max CF. That's what they wanted, and I bought them the engine. So now they had 2 engines. They gave the light truck, and engine 3 turned it into rescue. And now they have, but I'll tell you what, Dumont, New Jersey's fire department looked like you just walked out of a firehouse in the Bronx.
Really?
All the guys back then just, they just mimicked it. It was, and it was good. I loved it. I didn't know that much about it, but I loved it.
Do they have the Bronx Bends and all that cool stuff?
Yeah, some of them, yeah. Some of them got a little carried away, but good bunch of guys, had a few jobs a year. All go-getters, nobody stood outside. We had guys to do outside stuff, but we had a lot of go-getters, a lot of good fires. Bobby Pressler was a fireman in Dumont, New Jersey, briefly.
Well, Pressler, Conboy. I don't.
They were neighbors of mine. Yeah, a funny story about Bobby Pressler. I'm coming home from working in Weehawken, and I get on. I hear the radios. I get closer, and I hear alarms going out, apartment fire, blah blah blah. I get down at the 2-story apartment, and the kids had started a fire in the back, and the fire went up these wooden poles and went into the cockloft on both sides of the firewall. And exposure 4 was the firehouse. So, but the third way through, Bobby shows up and he says, "Hey, what can I do for you?" He wasn't a member yet, but he said, "What can I do for you?" And I said, "Pull every ceiling you can," because I knew it was in a cockloft. He disappeared. I saw him about an hour later. And
nice.
And, so just.
So you know these guys a long time.
Yeah. Bobby and I were buffs. Me, him, and Harvey Eisner. We used to buff.
Oh my goodness! You know all these guys.
Dude, he's dropping names out of his pockets like.
Ouch.
They've been friends. And we've been friends a long time.
That's all right.
Petey throwing 20s.
Well, wait a minute. Petey throwing 20s. What? Nah, bad analogy there, bro.
What?
Wait, what?
What? Who?
What?
Sorry.
All right.
It's the chief dropped the name, so it went right through the glass floor.
All right. So, Chief, in the meantime, it looks like you have a dual timeline here. So 72 to 75, you're in Weehawken in a paid fire department?
Yeah, Weehawken paid Hudson County at the neighbor Jersey City. Small. We had 12 guys on duty, including the dispatcher, because everybody had to take a turn being a dispatcher. So, I did a little probie thing there, but they figured I had gone through basic fire training with the volley. So they got me into a company pretty quick. I went to Ladder 2. And I was a driver and a captain. That was it. That was a ladder company. We had a couple fires, a lot of pull boxes. We had some big fires at Pier K with piers on the Hudson River in Weehawken, and they burned every once in a while. It was time for them to burn so they could put up some buildings. And so I did a few years there. I had a couple fires and did a lot of mutual aid.
So you said Ruffy. He sounds like he's from Kentucky, right? I mean, anything that's like this. Butch Cobb from Weehawken. Right?
Yeehaw, stick it in your grandma.
Well, yeah. I knew I was getting out of Weehawken, though, because back then you could take the test. They listed all the cities. They all had all the cities taking a test. I put down Weehawken, Jersey City, Newark, East or South. I put them all down. And the best thing about it is, and this really, Vietnam was worth it. When I came back, they gave us absolute preference. So when you took a test, if you got a 70, you went to the top of the list. If you got an 80, you went to the top of the list.
I like
so I was at the top of the list on a lot of veterans took the test, but so I was just biding my time. My aunt lived in Weehawken, gave me a room, but I knew if Newark and Jersey City popped up, I took the New York City test, but that probably wasn't going to happen for a year or so. Because I had an uncle that worked in, he he must have retired when I was 15, and yeah, real old timer. And he worked over in Manhattan, got hurt, and retired out of the training academy as lieutenant, Frank Screeder. But yeah, I would have taken New York if it came first, but Jersey City came. I jumped on that. When the New York City test came up, you know what? I said to myself, do you want to go to any more fires? I mean, Jersey City was a hidden secret. It really was. Nobody realized what we were doing.
Right. How big is that department, Chief?
Weehawken?
No, Jersey City.
Jersey City? There was about 600 guys back then, 27, 28 companies. They closed 4 in 91. I just did some consulting with them to get them a better class with ISO. And when I left a few weeks ago, they had about 700 firemen, 28 companies, in 14 square miles, population 300,000, daytime population probably close to 4. 250 high rises with another 60 or 70 on paper. Just the city's exploded. But for small 14, 15 square miles, 700 guys and girls, man, there's a lot of companies there. A lot of companies.
Yeah, so you got there in 75 now.
Yeah.
Was that their war years, or was that a little bit later, a little bit earlier?
No, it was when I got there, they probably had, Mike Turpak was telling me about 2,000 or 3,000 vacant buildings. I go to Engine 1, it's on the waterfront. I think Jersey City figured, well, this kid's been to a couple pier fires, so we'll send him there. But Henderson Street, changed its name. Henderson Street was just lined with vacant buildings all the way down to the Holland Tunnel, all around us. And my first tour in, we had a couple vacant building fires, had a couple windows. No big deal back then. But I got some good experience. I had a good fire on my first night tour. We were working 10 to 14s at the time in a place called the Left Hand Tavern, vacant building in a 4-story brick. And Louis Schmidt, the captain, gave me the nozzle. He said, your turn. And he pushed me in there, and it was a little scary because he kept moving in. And I said, now?
Get in there, kid.
I said, now? He said, no. He goes, keep now? I said, no. I said, we got, and then finally, all time, World War II vet, leathery face, Lucky Strike in his mouth 24/7.
Ah, Lucky Strike.
Lucky Strike. Funny story about Louis Schmidt. I go to the firehouse in Engine 1, introduces himself, and he hands me off to the senior guy and a couple other guys, and comes back down later. He says, kid, come here. Walk over to the refrigerator. And he's been on a job like 20 years now in 75. Walk over to the refrigerator. He opens the refrigerator, and he says, you see that 6-pack of Schlitz? You don't touch that, we'll get along fine. That was it. Yeah, that was.
Would you really want to touch a Schlitz anyway? I don't
Yeah.
even know. I don't even know what that tasted like.
Yeah, so Engine 1 was good, but I had all the runs and markers from Jersey City, and I know Engine 4 was a little bit busier, but everything in the South End, the 2nd Battalion, Engine 20, 22, 5 truck, they were getting jobs all the time. So as soon as we had a bidding system, so in October, the bids came out, and you get 1 point for every year you're on a job. So there was an opening in 20 engine, and I just hoped nobody bid it with my 1 year, and I got the spot. I was shocked.
Wow.
And the rest is history. I stayed there for a long time. 582 Communicore Avenue. It was, for a number of years, it was the only occupied building on the block.
Really?
Yeah, we did this small first due area. We had a lot of stuff. It was
What kind of rig were you running with?
We had a Max CF and an American LaFrance tractor trailer. And
Really?
yeah, it was good. 4-man companies, 4-person companies. Now that they're riding, except for now the rescue's got 5 or 6, and the other companies have 4 or 5 because they have so many people. But we had 4. Minimum was 4.
Minimum meaning an officer, a driver, and 2 guys in the backstop?
2 guys. That was it. And I got friends of mine ride with me when I was out in the 2nd Battalion in Jersey City, and they said to me, "How the hell do you do that? How do you put that out? How do you get?" And, you just did. But through the years, we had really good chiefs. In our first alarm assignment, we got about 34, 35 people in the first alarm because we need the manpower. I mean, a lot of the rigs you could park, but we had some smart chiefs that knew that, with all these roll frames, everything they had in the Bronx and Manhattan, we had. And, and those war years and the vacant buildings that came across the river, we had people that got burnt out try to help them clean up and said, "Oh, we got this. This is the third time we've been burnt out. Twice in the Bronx and once in Jersey City."
Wow. What would they get on an alarm, Chief? How many apparatus?
Reportable fires, 4-2 to rescue and 2 chiefs. It's about 35 people on the first alarm. Nothing different.
Did they have a rescue back then? What was?
No, when I came on, the 2 rescues were closed. And in '91, they closed the 2 rescues and just used the manpower. It was back when the rescues were just kind of a flying squad. They just went to, some of the deputies would send guys there as punishment because they knew they'd be running a lot. So the rescues were gone. In '91, they decided to bring back Rescue 1, but they were going to close 4 companies, and they closed. This was the chief's idea at the time. They closed the 2 busiest companies and the 2 slowest. So Engine 20 and 5 truck closed, Engine 1 and Ladder 1 closed, but they gave back Rescue 1. They said, we'll put Rescue 1 and Engine 20, 5-man company, and they used me and Frank Bentavegna, who was an ex-cop, but we had some volley rescue experience, and they met us at the committee. They said, bring back Rescue 1, get the rig, equipment, and whatnot. So Rescue 1 came back in '91. But none back then. It was just 4-2 and 2 chiefs.
How many years did you spend in Engine 20?
20, I was there from, let's see, I went there in '80, and I stayed there until they, I'm trying to think, I think probably they closed it. Yeah, as a fireman and as a company officer until they closed it. 582 Communicable, yeah.
Wow. But what about Ladder 5? When did you work in Ladder 5?
Yeah, well, we jumped back and forth a little bit. There was a period where if one of the 2 officers went on vacation or called in sick and there was no spares, and you were a captain, whatever rig went out first. So, it was nice. I always like to jump back and forth. I like to work the ladder and learn it. I learned the tiller. I love roof operations.
We have any pictures of those, Petey? I don't even know if we had those. The
20
on 5? No.
I didn't send any ladder. I should have, but
it's okay. We got plenty of pictures we'll show.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, the Ladder 5 their logo was a cut above the rest, and the rescue was the Demon Slayer. We painted lightning bolts on the front of the rig, and nobody cared. It was, but it was fun. That was. We had a great time. There was, it just seemed guys that wanted to go to fires. They all kind of circled the wagons together. And I had all great guys as firemen, and when I became a company officer, the guys that rotated to me, I just made my career. They were just, very seldom I don't have to tell anybody to do anything. We got there, they knew their job, whatever it was that day, and it just got done. It just these guys wanted to do their business and do it better than anybody else in the city.
You and Jay Jonas were talking about that last show, right? Ruff, the guys are gonna make you look good, right?
Oh, they make you look good, man.
Yeah. I'll tell you, my whole career was based on that. I just work with some of the best people, in 20 ends. And when it came time for the rescue, even though we had a bidding system and the union was a little pissed off, they let each captain, they picked the captains first, because they did away with the rank of lieutenant. And then they said, you guys pick your crew. And I picked all guys that worked with me previously. Pete Greasy, Lenny Ribicki, Dennis Whalen, Tommy Ebert, all guys worked in the busy companies. They all wanted to come to the rescue. And boy, I'll tell you, we had a ball. It was the best 4 or 5 years. We had a ball because unlike some rescues in Jersey City, we started out on every box in the city.
No shit.
We got a piece of everything. It's only 14 square miles. And and if you're doing 60 miles an hour, you get there pretty quick. Yeah.
Wow.
Every box we started out with. And at the beginning, they said, taking anything you want. So sometimes if an automatic alarm came in and we were a couple blocks away, like dispatch, rescue 1, we're taking that in. Give us a mark. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we were going nuts. They cut back on that because we got a little crazy.
A little dicey.
Yeah, I know we were actually talking, Chief, that, and vice versa. If you were really into the job and you really liked who you were working for, you would do anything for your boss, right? So it worked both ways, right? The guys, you would do anything for your guys, the guys or gals would do anything for you, and it's sometimes it's a perfect situation,
Yeah.
and that's why
Yeah.
it works well.
All the guys I work with like training. We were out every day. A quick story. We were out in the rescue. We went out so much with the rescue, especially at the beginning. And we had like 500 vacant buildings that the building department said we could destroy because they belong to the city and we were going to get knocked down. So, and a lot of companies use them, not just us, but we were out so much day and night training, hands-on training, that the union called me one day and he said, "Hey, look, we got guys complaining to the union because they don't want to go on overtime or transfer to the rescue because you're out all day and night, and we got to do something about it." But I took that as the best compliment, one of the best
Absolutely.
compliments.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Guys didn't want to go to the rescue for overtime or a transfer. Hey, too bad. You know what? Too bad.
Hell yeah, too
You're
bad.
coming for the wrong reasons, then, bro. You know.
Yeah.
Pete,
Yeah,
you got any pictures of the rescue? I want to see what the rescue looked like. What the rig looked
Hold
like.
on a
We
second.
started out with, I didn't think of it. The
That's
rescue
all right.
started out with a big E1, big box,
Mhm.
Now that was before the E1 came in. That was our old Max CF covered wagon,
Yeah.
and they enclosed it a little bit. We threw all our stuff in there, so we had this nice Mac until the. Actually, before that, we had a Suburban and a van. We were two
Oh,
kids.
really?
We wanted to get on the road. We couldn't wait, so we got that. We got rid of the Suburban and the van, and I think I sent you a picture of the van with Gumby. Is that on there?
No, but we got this other one with you guys on the back of another rig right here. So
Yeah, that's an E1. That's our first one. It didn't work out well at all, even though we gave him the weight of every piece of equipment. We broke springs. We had 2 fires in the rig. It didn't work at all.
It worked out so well.
You know what? I wanted to ask you, Chief, because we talked about it when I first contacted you. What was the story with those helmets? I remember you said something we were going to talk about. I didn't want you to tell me the story. The other helmet there, Petey.
You know what happened?
I'll get to the. Let me find the helmet and then I'll put it up while you talk about it.
For a long time.
Oof.
For a long time, we had to buy our gear. So you buy a helmet and it lasted forever. And then sometime in I forget what year, my friend Pete just let me, and I should have wrote it down. But at some point in time, through the union or through something, the city was forced to buy all our equipment. So we had fire directors that were kind of like New York City's fire commissioners, and they just decided these were cheaper and might be better, and they said to try them. So we wore them for a few years. Everybody hated them. Nobody liked them at all. I think, on paper, we probably had more head injuries because, we wanted to get rid of them. But
allegedly, my head hurts.
Yeah. We wore them for a while. I didn't like it. I was a traditionalist, and every guy in Jersey City is, we're right across the river from the biggest fire department in the world. They wear them. They got to be good. That was my thing. You know what? So we wore them, and you know what? We did what we had to do, and until finally somebody came to their senses and said, "Let's get rid of these." Because they didn't last long. They didn't. For some reason, they
What's
broke
that
a
one
lot.
that he's drinking there, Petey? I see something he's drinking there. Which one is that? Above that?
Drinking. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That was, it was the second alarm. We're getting first due at engine 20. Works our balls off. Somebody just came out from my house and said a couple of quarts of orange juice. Just the local neighbors, and just took a blow. Just taking a blow. Catching up to my guys.
How long? How many years did you have those? Only a couple of years then. The helmets?
I think we had them for 3 years. And then we went back to the.
3 years too many.
Yeah, we went back to New York. Yeah, but my feeling is sometimes, even though how much did they save on buying these helmets? Sometimes you got to do what makes the guys feel good. You got to have a little pride, even in your equipment. I'm sorry. You know what? That's the way I look at it.
I agree with that too.
Yeah. So, anyway.
You have any good stories about when engine jobs that you caught while you were in engine 20?
Yeah, I wish I would have did some more fire pictures. I wasn't quite sure. I think there's a church fire there that was pretty spectacular.
Oh yeah, stand by. Hold on a second. Yeah. That thing's pretty ripping. Here it is.
Ripping.
Oh sure.
Yeah. So
sure.
That's a big church, and I was Rescue 1 and Squad 4, because eventually Squad 4 got put in the firehouse at Rescue 1. So Rescue 1 and Squad 4 first due here. And it was pretty good. It got into a 3-story a 3-story frame next door. I mean, it blew in. We had no chance of stopping it. But the interesting thing in this story was we're fighting this fire, and sorry, not the priest, but I forget what kind of church it was, but the minister comes out to the command post. He goes, "You got to get in there. You got to get in there." Now it's like, we're setting up defensive operations. He said, "There's a coffin up at the altar, and the funeral's tomorrow." He said, "You got to save the coffin."
Oh my goodness gracious!
Holy cow! So you know what? We
Made a grab.
got the fire knocked out.
Guy didn't make it though.
Assembled all the guys in the rescue. I was a battalion chief. So assembled all the guys in the rescue. Went to the rear building and said, "What do you think?" And they said, "Hey, listen, we'll give it a shot." And you know what? They crawled in there, put a rope around this thing, dragged it outside.
No shit.
And you know what? But unfortunately, the body inside was microwaved. I mean, it just
Really?
Okay.
and the top had popped a little bit. I didn't look in.
Microwave.
But then a guy from the funeral home came and he sealed it. But yeah, you know what? It was sort of a grab.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you got a grab.
My family was happy. One of those things, yeah. That was.
You got to put him in for medal for that one. You ain't even getting one like that again in your career, man.
Yeah. For rescuing a dead person, I didn't.
That's a pretty unique story. That for sure.
But, hey, things like that happened, and we were proud. We were proud that we were able to. Family was happy. So.
When did they bring a squad back, Chief?
Okay, the rescue was in service a couple of years, and then the chief was afraid. There was a house downtown called the Big House, and had an engine 4, engine 5, and 6 truck. The tower had a 6 in it, and the chief was afraid some politician was going to look at that firehouse and say, "Why do we need 2 engines in that firehouse?" So he said, "Great idea." He said, "You know what? Let's turn this into a squad. All right. We'll give them some rescue enhancements and we'll put them in with the rescue," which we didn't like, but you know what? And they called it Squad 4, had its own first due area. It had engine 20's own first due area. And they were the 5th engine. Anytime somebody pulled up and said working fire, Squad 4 took off as the 5th engine. So they'd come in behind the rescue. 4-2 and a rescue on a box. The squad and another ladder we call it the working fire signal.
Mm-hmm.
So they got a piece of everything, and they were rescue trained. So if we needed a guy, they would jump across, and a lot of them, meandered over to the rescue in the bid process. But it was.
Did they carry truck tools as well, or?
Yeah, and they primarily did truck work. They would come in with their tools, and most of the incident commanders would grab them and say, help out with the floor above. 2 guys to the roof. So if they were in first due or in the first alarm. They were mainly a truck company, so
right.
It helped out. And
are they still in service now, Chief?
Yeah, Rescue 4, and they just started Squad 1 just a couple of weeks ago. The Chief McGill, he's doing things that nobody thought were possible. He just got another truck refurbed it, called it Squad 1, and it's downtown, and it's a squad, but their specialty is high-rise. They put a lot of battery-operated high-rise equipment in it, but it's got a first due area as a truck, and it's downtown. It's actually got a 55-foot ladder on it. No, it's a 40 or 50. I forget, but no aerial. But it's Squad 1, and it goes to most of the fires as the fast truck. But
right.
So So
what's the other squad then? Squad 4 still in operation?
Squad 4 is still up at the rescue on Community Avenue.
And what kind of rig do they have?
Squad 4's got, I think they have a PS pumper, and it's able to carry some extra equipment. They got jaws and all the trucks.
Probably like ours, Kev.
Yeah,
and they got some high angle stuff and stuff like that. So, and if the rescue gets anything, water rescue and stuff, the squad goes with them. So it's a pretty good matchup. And Squad 1's new, so they just kind of feel.
It's good that they did that.
They got hundreds of new kids, and a lot of new kids bid for it, thinking it was going to give them some work. And Jersey City is one of the youngest fire departments I've ever seen. It's unbelievable how many kids they put on.
Are they getting a lot of jobs in? Like you were saying, everything changes, right? So you might have certain types of buildings. Now you got all these high rises. New York's doing the same thing in Queens. The high rises are going up all over the place too.
South end of Jersey City hasn't changed very much. The 2nd Battalion, they always lead in runs and workers. They've had a couple multiple alarms in the last week, a couple working fires. I mean, if you're a new kid, if you're a probie and you go to a company, you're going to catch some work within that month easily. And it's been pretty good. It's still kind of, it's not like the old days, but everybody says, back in the day.
Nothing is like
they're
that.
catching work. I mean, I go to firehouses. I was back there. I go into firehouses and I can look at the kids' gear. I mean, they're all, they look like they go work. And if you're
is there still vacants around there?
Yeah, they still got a number of vacants. They're popping up even in the Heights, which was a better section. The Heights is getting some fires now, and because you know what, I think there's a lot of. This is just me thinking. There's a lot of real estate people out there that would like to have some of those buildings, and one way to get those buildings is to get rid of those living in them. But that's just old school thinking, I think. But yeah, they still. My friend Pete just celebrated. He worked in Engine 20 with me. In the rescue, he became the captain of the rescue. Now he's a battalion chief out in the 2nd Battalion. Just celebrated his 40th anniversary.
Wow!
And he gets work. I mean, he calls me, or I'm on a scanner still, and whenever I go there, I go with him and run around, see all the guys. And not many of the old guys left. I mean, I go into firehouses, and some of the kids look at me like,
"Who the fuck's this guy?"
I knock on the door, and the guys, let me go check with the captain.
Hey.
But you know what? The firehouses in the 2nd Battalion, I don't know if the rest of the city does that, but when I go to visit, I know Jimmy Farrell, who's probably the best officer, alive on earth in my thinking. His whole company, he's in Engine 22 and Tower Ladder 4. When I show up there and knock on the door, he gathers the whole company up. They still got bells in the firehouse. He hits the bells, and when I walk in, it's just amazing. I get tears in my eyes. Just some traditions carry on in some firehouses. I love it. Yeah.
That'll make you feel good. Yep.
Yeah.
What the hell's how many rescues? Do they only have one rescue still, Chief?
Only one. They had two back in the early '60s and through most of the '60s, I guess. Yeah, they had the Jersey City was split into two divisions. They had two deputies working, one on each end of the city, and a rescue in each division. And but they were just manpower squads. They just took off on fires and you use them however you want.
Right. So let's just backtrack a little bit, and because you mentioned that they had put you in charge of creating the rescues, right?
Yeah.
So tell us how that came about and what you did and how you formulated what you were going to need and use.
I know I dropped names, but it's good that I know these people, and I met a lot of them through Firehouse. Because when I did hands-on training, all the superstars around the country, at least from the East Coast, came to me and said, "Listen, I want to be part of it." So, but anyway, so Frank Bentavagna was looking into equipment. He was the captain, and I was looking into what we needed and how to run a good rescue. So the first thing I did was I went over to see Pete London, Rescue 3, when they were over in Manhattan. And Pete was, God rest his soul, he was one of the most beautiful people in the world. I mean, he spent hours with me, walking around, opening compartments. Him, Mickey, a couple of other guys, the two Bobbies I met over there, Bobby Athanas.
Bobby.
Yeah. And so Pete was unbelievable. He spent hours. I'd go over to park, ride with him, but he gave me a lot of paperwork. So that was helpful. And then I went down to Rescue 1 in Philadelphia. They had just reinstated their rescue. And I knew some of the guys down there. Freddie Endicrat. I don't know if you know Freddie Endicrat. He was a lieutenant.
I've heard that name.
Yeah, he runs the entire USAR system now for FEMA. So he came up through the ranks, and I think he's the only guy that got promoted to battalion chief without a test. That he was so good at what he did. But anyway, I went down to see him again with his guys. They had the big rescue. Showed me all the equipment, running assignment, what they did when they got there. Just everything. So he was really good. I went over to Newark. They were running a rescue. I got information from some of the other East Coast, Boston. I went up to Boston. Knew a couple people up there. But between Philly and New York City, I had just started to know a little bit from Ray Downey. He was a big firehouse guy. He did a tremendous amount. So between them, I mean, you couldn't get a better group. Where can you get that information for free to
Yeah.
build a company? I mean,
For free.
you couldn't fail. I could not fail.
Isn't that amazing how forthcoming guys are too? To give all of that information.
Yeah, so it's incredible. We hit the street running, and when they closed 20-5, all those guys hated us. They were rescue haters. But it wasn't too long before the list of guys wanted to go to the rescue grew and grew. And then there was one guy from 5 Truck I know that didn't like it, and he went down. He was moving a ladder, hit a wire, got electrocuted, for all intents and purposes, dead on the sidewalk. And the rescue brought him back to life. And you know what? He recovered from that, came back, and bid to the rescue. Listen, he was a great fireman. Walter Milne was a great fireman. I mean, he didn't need any tools. He'd run through the door. He would just knock it off his hinges. Yeah,
I like those guys.
And then after a few years, the list grew. Rescue, if you came on, we get a lot of volleys that come on. They move into the city because it's residency requirement. They move in, they live in the city for a couple of years and get jobs and blah, blah, blah. But as soon as these volleys came on board, the list started growing and growing. Yeah, the rescue is the place to be. I mean, who gets a chance to go to every job in the city?
How long was this process? How long did the whole thing take from the time that they said they wanted you to be on this project to the time that you guys were out the door?
Probably a year. Probably took us a good year to put it all together. And then we wanted to design a truck, but we couldn't wait for the rescue truck to come in. We made them give us a van and a Suburban, and we loaded all our crap in the back of this, and we started responding. And you know what? The chiefs like this because there's 5 guys coming, and we could split up 3 ways. 2 guys, we get in quick. 2 guys take the fire floor, 2 guys the floor above, and 1 guy to the roof. I know the safety police are out there saying 1 guy to the roof, but you know what? That's what we did, and he would meet up with maybe another truck or something. But
that's how we operated basically.
Yeah. It was just chiefs like that. 5 guys.
Well, you're filling in the gaps, right? I mean, you show up there. He needs somebody. If listen, if it's a one-line job, you're going to show up there. We don't want to go in that job anyway, right? You show up, you say hello to the chief. All right, we'll see you later. But if you show up and you already know things are going bad, he's going to use you. You know what I mean? And he's going to be ecstatic because you're going to, fix problems fast.
Hopefully. We're there in the first alarm. Another compliment I took as a compliment. We were down getting gas at the south end of the city, and a box comes in the Heights up north. And the Heights was, then they're doing some work, but kind of slow. And so we jumped in the rig, jumped in the rig, and we're flying. We're flying up there now. Now again, 14 square miles. We get in, we jump off the rig, the chauffeur goes to park, and I run up to the 3rd Battalion chief. And I didn't say anything. He grabs me by the collar and shakes me. He goes, "What took you so fucking long?" He says, "Get in there and do something."
Go do your rescue stuff.
Do that stuff.
I took it as a compliment.
Oh yeah, right. Well, that's what I said. When they really need you, it seems like it's always perfect time, and you're walking up at the right time.
We had a ball though in the rescue. We were busy out training all the time. We went to every extrication, every high angle, every water. We did it all. Other towns started calling us. It was a great firefight. I almost wish I didn't get promoted, but then on the other hand, I was getting a little older, and we had a lot of 4- and 5-story walk-ups, and that Scott pack got a lot heavier,
Oh, Louis knows about that, right?
It was the most fun. Great group of guys, and we became we became really. That firehouse became really close. I'm the godfather to one of the guys' kids, and we took care of each other. We were going to do everything we had to do and come home that night. So
how did you guys operate? How many captains were in there? Was it 3, and you had 3 different shifts, or what?
We had 4 shifts. So there were 4. We started out with lieutenants and captains. All right, and then it was very similar to New York City. And then a couple of lieutenants thought they were doing captain's work, and it was a lawsuit, and the city said, "Well, screw this. We're not going to wind up paying $1 zillion." But they did away with the rank of lieutenant, and all the lieutenants got a big raise. And so then we just had captains, and that's the way it stays. So every company, for years now, every company has a captain, and it stays that way. And you kind of divvy up what's going on as far as there's no one senior captain who gets all the complaints. It's the complaints are handled in house, and if they go to a battalion chief, whatever group makes the complaint, they take care of it. So different from New York in that respect.
So you have 4 captains, and they each have their own set of guys. Is that what you said?
Yeah, 4 shifts, 4 shifts. We for the last, I don't know, 25 years or so, maybe more, we work 24 on, 72 off. That's it. 24 on, 72 off. Before that, we worked 2 10-hour days, 2 off, 2 14-hour nights, 2 off, and it went to
that's us.
You union wanted to change it and blah blah blah, and guys were moving out of town, and so 24 and 72 off. I liked it. I liked it. It gave me an opportunity. I went to school a little bit. I had my training company, so if I had one mutual, I was off 7 days.
Right. So what?
Did they
You
do the
guys
same
were
thing?
allowed to work in different groups? Like, could guys work in your group and another guy work at somebody
Oh yeah,
else's group?
we had mutuals. You could do as many mutuals as you want. They didn't mind that. We had mutuals. We had the mutuals are good. You couldn't work more than 24 hours, so you couldn't do a mutual with the guy coming in.
Right.
Because back then, which was smart, they said 24 is it. You go home after 24. But you could do it with the guy in the middle.
Right. 2 over.
And so, we had mutuals. We did plenty of mutuals. In the rescue, for a while, you had to be rescue qualified to work there. But, the union's trying to protect everybody. And then they said, okay, 4 of the 5 had to be rescue qualified. But there's such a list now that they get the rescue all the time. But we made it around that. I mean, if there was a guy that didn't look like I was too sure of him, I tell him, stay with me. Don't lose sight of me. I'm sure some of them said, that sucks. But a lot of fun.
Hey, I got to ask you something.
Go.
Yes.
What are the potholes like in Jersey City?
We had that's one of 2. We had another one with 8 truck that fell into a pothole, and they had a crane to get it out. Yeah, it was just a lot of rain and whatnot, and the truck stopped and just swallowed up. Yeah, that thing sat there for hours until they could get it out to figure out how to get it out.
Holy smokes! What'd they have to do to get it out of there?
They probably craned that thing.
Call a rescue. That's what they got to do, bro.
8 truck was similar, and they had to get a crane. They got one of these big, huge trucks, and they got a crane to lift it out. Yeah, and then put some boards in or something, or steel plate, and set it back.
What kind of damage we talking? Financially, I mean.
Yeah, well, I don't know financially, but they took it out of service, and they had to check all the springs, check the chassis for any cracks, and it stayed out of service.
Looks like a new rig too.
Yeah. They ran with a spare for quite a while.
Yeah, that thing. Oof. I mean, was it just that there was a massive puddle and no one saw what was doing, or it collapsed underneath?
The road just collapsed. They stopped. They were going to walk and bang. Yeah. Just thank God the aerial wasn't up with somebody on it. I mean, it shook the crap out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if the outriggers would have helped. But yeah, we've had that happen a couple times. We get some serious potholes there once in a while.
So that's why you have the tormentors. There you go. Now I get it.
What's that fire picture? 2 above that rig. There.
Okay, yeah, this is a nice 5th alarm here. They saved the foundation on. Beautiful work.
This
That's
was
construction.
Charlie Donahue was the 2nd Battalion. I was chief operations at the time. When I was a deputy, I became the number 2 guy at the beginning. And so I'm rolling down to the day fire. I'm in my office, and I hear Charlie says, transmit a 2nd alarm. A few seconds later, transmit a 3rd alarm. And then he used the word in his next report, conflagration. I have never heard that out of fire.
Holy shit.
That shit's bad.
Yeah. I don't know what that means, but it can't be good.
And then right after that, now I'm coming close to the scene. Right after that, he says, call Public Service Electric and tell them to shut down the grid. Now,
Oh,
Charlie
my God.
Damn.
And both things he said meant this, because that building was fully involved. But if you look to the left,
Oh, sorry. Hold on.
there's 2
There it
stores on fire. All right. And eventually that hose line caught on fire. That hose line completely burnt up. I had a picture of it. I couldn't find it. But that fire radiated to about 21 buildings.
Wow.
The radiant heat caught. You can see the roof line down a half a block on fire.
Yep.
Look at that.
There were about 8
Incredible.
buildings on fire when I got there. This went to a 5th alarm. I mean, this went We
Was that under
exhausted.
construction, Chief?
Yeah, it was under construction.
It
Someone-
was after that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
The building to the right there, I think you can see a guy going up the ladder.
Yeah,
I
that's
saw
on
it.
fire too. There, you
Yeah.
can see that's on
Because they
fire.
reported people's traffic, the whole front of the building, and 7 cars on fire in front of the building.
Wow.
Yeah,
all
see the guy
cars-
going in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all big guns right
Look,
away.
look at the siding of that on the building.
Oh
ahead
yeah,
of it,
it's all
man.
melted. Yeah, good
This is
catch.
one of the biggest fires I had been to. You know, and I'm going down, and I met with the deputy. And, you know, when I was the chief of operations, I never took over anything. I just was there for support. I went to the deputy, and he said, you know, he sent me to a spot. He said, go down there and let me know what the hell's going on. So, you know, I went down and radio.
It's a conflagration.
That
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, well, that word means big, bigger, bigger.
We
Yeah,
gotta
Jake's
remember
fine.
that
I
one,
don't
bro.
know how, yeah.
Yeah, we got a conflagration. What?
Yeah.
I can just imagine that.
There
Okay,
were wires down. Charlie made the right move. Shut down the grid. There were wires down on 5 blocks.
Chief,
Burn
I
it.
got to
Yeah.
ask you about another really kick-ass photo here, and I mean that in like the craziest way. The Onyx chemical fire. Look at that face. My God, what happened, man?
I hadn't taken a breath in about 3, 4, 5, almost 5 minutes. I couldn't breathe. I was, you know, this is another one. I was going to say my mother's going to be really pissed because I'm not coming home, and nor my wife. But it was Onyx chemical fire, the as quick as possible. It was a downtown box on Grand Street. It was a big Onyx chemical factory. There was a second alarm downtown. We were actually companies on the second alarm. So engine 20 and 5 truck get down there first due. Not on our box. We get there. The guy says it's just alcohol flame burning it on the rim of the tank. And the tanks were 2.5 stories, almost 3 stories. They went almost to the roof of this 3-story building. So Jack Duffy, the lieutenant, guy saved my life earlier. He said, let's stretch a line up. It might have been 1.5 inches for all I know, but we stretch a line up, catwalks, metal stairs with catwalks with no railings on them, overlooking these tanks. So we get up there, and it's not the fire's coming from down below, up the wall, and across the ceiling.
Holy
So
shit.
we got the line. We called for the line to be charged, and a lot of things happened in the next few seconds. The guy that was with me got low on air. I didn't have my mask on until we got up there. He had his. So Jack says, "Go down and get on the mask." I need a little bit more line. Jack goes down to get the catwalk to hump some more line up, and with that, a fireman comes through the roof. Kenny Drennan from Engine 9. I didn't know it at the time, and all I see is from his waist down, he's dangling over this tank with about 50,000 gallons of chemical in it, and it's getting worse. And
Holy shit.
and when he falls through, all the chemicals on the roof, because the fire started from a big pipe that was leaking chemicals probably for weeks, and it ate through the tar, ate through the wood, and it was dripping down, starting a fire at the base of this tank. So anyway, he falls through, and a flow of water, a flow of chemicals come down, and this thing explodes. It blows up, and it knocks me back. My mask is off. I try to center it, and I see these feet up there. And I said, all I could think about is, and the fire is impinging. The fire's all over his legs. I crawl back to the 1 3/4, whatever it was. I get it going on a straight stream, and I'm just hitting the shit out of him. I'm hitting the roof, hitting him, you know. And eventually, the guys on the roof with him, they pull him out. They get him out of the roof, and then I had to get out. I'm crawling down this metal frame, this metal platform over these freaking tanks. And I don't know where I am or where I'm going. I'm just crawling. I get to the end. I go down the steps. I don't know which way to go. I'm following. I go down some more steps. And all of a sudden, I see the back of a battalion chief, because now they're sending guys in to look for me. And it said Gray. And I knew it was Chief Gray, old guy. And his son was a cop. And I see him, and I run at him, and I hit him really hard. And I grabbed him. I wasn't letting go. Because if he was going out of the building, he was dragging me out. I couldn't breathe. Everything closed. They got me out. These are a couple guys from the medical center, Ira Rubin, and I forget the other guy's name, the head of the medical center, and they're trying to get me to an ambulance. And I think about 15 of us went to the hospital with chemical burns, and it was pretty serious. And funny side of this, they get us to the hospital. They got to wash us down with some kind of vinegar solution because we all got chemical burns. And then they want to put us in like 3 or 4 rooms, and we're all burnt and all fucked up. And we say to them, no. put us in a ward. We want to all be together. Put all the beds together, and they did. They put us all in one room. And they called my wife and say, your husband's been taken to the hospital. We don't know his condition, but you need to come down.
Oh boy.
So she comes down with her father, but she takes like an hour to get there. But we're all in there. Kenny's pretty bad. I mean, he's in pain. They're giving him up. And the union shows up with like 6 or 7 pizzas and 3 or 4, 2 or 3 cases of beer. That's what they show up, and they come in, and
they know how to treat a guy.
That's the way it was. And my wife came down, and it was
and a pizza party in the ward.
They gave me, they shot me full of stuff. It opened up my throat. I started feeling better. They sent me out to St. Elizabeth's for pulmonary function tests and pulmonary rehab for about a month or so, and I came back to the job. And everybody came back. Kenny came back, and he became a battalion chief, and
well, that could have been a lot worse.
I didn't think I was getting out. If I was just fortunate. I was really lucky. But again, go back to the fire, come back to work, and say, hey, let's get going again.
That's
but
crazy.
Anyway, that's that was
Schlitz beer. What kind of beer was it?
That wasn't Schlitz. He pull up picture back up.
That's like a scary and funny picture at the same time.
I thought he was going to say the funny thing that happened was that this guy looks like Newman from Seinfeld. I don't know. Newman.
Got a Timex on or something.
As a guy who I have lung problems with asthma and all this stuff.
Yeah,
I
you
can't
can see
imagine.
that, right?
Yeah, you could see how he was like trying to breathe right there.
I couldn't get anything down.
Oh my God, man, that would freak me the hell out, dude.
I really thought it was. Yeah, again, I thought this is not going to be good. And yeah,
you
like the hand light with the rope around it?
I
do like it.
Old school. What kind of chemicals was it? Did they ever say what it was?
Oh my God, yeah, there was all kinds of different chemicals, 3 or 4, and the downtown companies had been there, but it was it was in the day where it was kind of pre-planned But right. I'd never been in a place because it was downtown, and I believed the guy when the lieutenant. We believed the guy. It was alcohol flame. He said, you could just hit it with some water and it'd go out, but he didn't know it had been dripping poison.
Nice.
And,
Thank you.
The guys helping you out looked like they were in the movie Rambo: First Blood Part 2, as background characters. Jesus.
Ira Rubin's one of the famous fire buffs in all the United States.
I know a couple of guys were
Bell Club, honorary battalion chief out of New York City. Yeah, he's
head of the Timex watch club.
And I was in the pipe band. He was the only Jewish piper we had.
Oh, is that the guy that sent me this shit?
Hold on, Chief. I wanted to ask you quick. Do you have any problems with your lungs from that at all over the years?
You know what? One of the things that happened, I don't know what it's from, either from there. I get pretty severe bronchitis.
That's what I have.
Yeah. I'm on inhalators when it happens, and the steroids, and I have to. Who knows where it came from? But I came back to work after a couple months, and it was good. But you know what? I had a little. Whenever we went to a commercial building, there was a little. There was something in me saying, "You got to be a little more careful."
You can't take it. As good as you did.
Yeah. So it scared the crap out of me. But hey, it was the second time I thought something was going to happen. I'm back.
I mean,
we get lucky for sure, man. No doubt.
Not being able to breathe has to be the scariest part of the whole thing. Yeah. Drowning. And look at him. He was walking out of the building, being helped along, and you could see the look of terror in his face, trying to take a breath. That really, honestly, that picture terrifies the shit out of me.
I'll tell you what, there was a good 30 seconds. I thought I was going to die. I figured,
of course,
I pass out any minute. I was seeing things, but hey,
Chief, don't be.
You're like a cat with 9 lives. There's a couple of times here you were gonna have to. Your mother was gonna be pissed at you, man.
Chief, don't be too worried.
I'm a cop.
There's a house fire three doors down from me. I don't think I'm gonna make it out. So I'm running. Chief, I gotta ask you because it's such an impactful photo, and we just got past 9/11 just yesterday, of course. I want to talk about some of these photos from 9/11.
Wait, let me get up to that point yet, though.
Okay, all right, go ahead, because I don't want to miss it because they're really good pics.
Well, we're going to segue right into that because he's working in rock and roll in places, and then all of a sudden he does that thing called studying. He gets promoted.
Oh,
Yeah, goes to BC, right? Goes to Battalion 2. And then
Great spot. Great spot.
It's the hot corner.
Great spot. I had a great crew on Group C. Good officers. Again, if you're in the 2nd Battalion in Jersey City, because it was, it's where it was. I mean, that's where everything was going on. So I had a great crew. I was a little walked on pins and needles for a little bit in my first command. I got everybody together, and I had a little bit of a reputation, I think. I know all the guys were pretty happy I was there, and they didn't get some jerk. But I told the captains, I said, well, I'm here. There can't be a day go by that I was with the Engine 19 Lat 8, but I got the whole battalion together, and I said, it can't be a day go by that you're not out training somewhere. I want to hear you every day somewhere on the radio doing some training. I said, after that, I said, you know what? You can do what you want. But I said, that's where I come from, and that's what I want you guys to do. And they all do it. They loved it. We did search rope training. We did ladder training. You name it, we did it. We did it. And great group of guys. I can tell you the first thing that happened, though, I was working as a battalion chief on Group D, new, with all these great guys. And I was telling Jimmy Farrell, one of the best. This guy is like incredible. I wish he would have become a chief because he was unbelievable captain. I mean, just could figure everything out, do everything. So we get this vacant building, and I'm outside first time, and it's rocking. It's out like 4 or 5 windows on the top floor, and 22's first dude are in there, and they're not knocking it as fast as I want them to. So I waited. Finally, I said, dispatch, hit the tone. I want everybody out of the building. I was worried, vacant building, and so everybody comes out, and Jimmy Farrell comes up to me, and I love this guy, respect him, and he says, Chief, if you were in the rescue, you wouldn't have come out. And I thought to myself, he's right, but I didn't say that to him. I said, well, I'm not in the rescue anymore. And because when you first stand in the street, I know these guys, I know their families, I know their kids, and I said, you know what, these guys are coming on, but you get used to it. And but that was the eye opener for me. All of a sudden now you got some responsibility here.
Yeah, you have the responsibility of making sure all those guys get home, right?
Yeah. But in Jersey City, what was good is, like I said, we got 4 engines, 2 trucks, and 2 chiefs, and the deputy came sometimes. But if you're the second due chief, you went to the interior. You took over the interior operations right away. So if I went to a good fire up in the 4th Battalion, which was busy, when I got there, I just tell the chief that's running it, and he knew I was going inside and see how the guys are doing. They need this, so you got inside and did some work, But that's just the way Jersey City ran things. To this day, it's still the same way.
Yeah, I think the FDNY picked that up later, right, Ruffy? They got the 5-4 chief,
right?
All
they got the
chief,
5-4 chief.
Yeah.
Well, now Jersey City's got 4 battalion chiefs on duty, a deputy. The deputy works on a shift, 24 hours and 72 off. We call him the Prince of the City, and he has to go on every report of a fire. Sometimes, there's aid will just say responding.
Monitor. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But they get 4. So they got 4 battalion chiefs. They got what's called a field training officer. I don't have time to explain it, but on every group there's a battalion chief who takes care of training on that group and goes to every fire, every report of a fire, as an extra pair of eyes or a safety. But they also have a safety chief. So there's 4, 5, 6, there's 4, 5, there's 7 fire chiefs working on each group in Jersey City now. And you know what? We have a great safety record. And I really believe that having that amount of chiefs on every fire, that amount of eyes really helps everything. Yeah. So
I say all the time, it's good and bad, right? Like, sometimes there was when we were getting the chiefs, I guess similar to you, right? It's a learning curve, right? So you show up, you're a chief for the first time, you see something going bad, you don't really have the experience standing in the street with pulling everybody out, right? Maybe 2 years later, maybe you're not doing it so fast, so you're going to do something different.
Exactly.
You still might pull them out, but you have more experience to go on, right?
Yeah.
That was the same thing when the chiefs first started going into the building. I always felt like, especially even as a squad going in there doing my thing, I would hear the chief maybe saying to a company officer, or to the guy, you guys pull that, and then the nozzlemen, hit that when they're done, And I always felt like, that's not your job. that's why you have officers for those guys, right? So you have to be careful when you get guys going in there. They might forget that they should be talking to the officer, or maybe step back a little bit sometimes when there's not you don't really need a chief in there for some stuff.
Yeah, the rank structure in Jersey City is pretty good. That's pretty much the way it works. I remember when I came on a job, if the deputy was at the fire, I would go across the street rather than walk in front of him, because he was. But that's kind of a tradition in Jersey City. Nobody, if you're standing in front of the building or you have a white helmet, none of the firemen are going to ask. You're just going to do what you have to do, and you don't boss the companies around. These guys know what they're doing. That's
the thing. I think it's gotten much better than that. That was initially.
I'm trying to make a point, and they'll tell, "Hey, cop, get that line over here." I don't like that, but
no good.
Bad. The system brings guys up pretty quickly. Some are good, some are bad. So what are you going to do?
I understand.
I do. All right. You how long you battalion chief for, Chief?
Let's see. I think I got promoted to captain in '89. It was quite a while. I didn't make deputy until I was just asking my wife. I said, "When did I make deputy?" I forget. I was a battalion chief for quite a while. I was only a deputy for about 4 years, I think, before I retired. I'll tell you a little secret. Every rank in Jersey City is a civil service test, including chief of department. I was about a month away from being appointed chief of department. I was one on the chief's list, and I retired. I couldn't do it. I couldn't. Not that I didn't want to. I just decided I had enough. It was too much politics up there. So. But
I say that all the time. Right? You become more of a politician at that point.
Yeah, I was deputy about 4 years. I was the day after I made deputy, I got appointed chief operations, became the number 2 guy. But here's the reason for this: we have a pretty strict union policy that all the spots kind of go up for bid. So the way it worked is the chief of department went to all the senior deputies. Now there were 4 deputy line deputies. On a job a long time. A 5th deputy was like the covering deputy, and then there was like a chief of training but guys that had been on a job a long time, and all the deputies that worked the line, they weren't giving up their spot. So he went and asked them, "You want to be?" He had to go and ask all of them. They all said no, and then he said, "Well, by rule, I'll take the junior deputy." It was me, and he said, "Bobby, you're the chief of operations," and he just said to me, he said, "All these guys know when you talk, you're speaking for me." And I was the acting chief a few times, and it was okay. It was good for my pension. That's the way I looked at it. I got to go to every fire, every multiple alarm, everything out of the ordinary, whether I was home or on duty. I would get paged, and because I was in the union as a deputy, not that this mattered, but every second alarm I went to, I was on overtime.
Hello.
But that was good. That was good because I went to everything, and I went to some things I shouldn't have gone to. My friend Pete Greasy was a battalion chief on the 2nd Battalion, and he could have like a 1-room vacant building. I'd jump in the car if I had nothing to do.
Hell yeah. Cha-ching.
What the fuck are you doing here? I thought, "No, Pete.
I'm buffing.
Yeah, I was. Yeah. I didn't even say I was responding. I figured I could. They gave me a car and a siren and lights, and I went anywhere I wanted. So,
do you still live in Jersey City, Chief?
No. You know where I am right now? I live in Goodyear, Arizona.
Get out of here.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. No, I lived in Jersey City originally. We moved to Dumont, New Jersey once I had the kids, and then we moved to West Milford after that. We went from an apartment to a house in West Milford. And then after I retired from everything, had a couple grandkids out here, and I just decided I needed to get out of the kind of the city environment. So my wife retired as a school teacher. She did almost 30 years, and just one day we woke up, looked at each other, and said,
Gotta go.
Sold the house. Didn't even take much of the furniture. Got rid of the furniture and whatnot. And my wife jumped on a plane, and I jumped on my motorcycle and drove to Arizona.
No
Get
kidding.
out of here. Wow.
Yeah. Well, first of all, there's your lovely wife. Obviously, you married up.
Good for you.
48 years. 48 years we got.
Wow, very nice.
48 years.
Beautiful.
Wow,
and
that's great.
what are you riding? A Harley? And what
I got
kind?
I got a Harley Ultra, big bike,
Nice.
911 pounds. I've
Wow.
been back and forth to the East Coast 4 times. Yeah,
Nice.
I love riding it. I love long rides. And
Okay.
For you. So it's 48 years of marriage. It must feel like
48.
it must feel like 5 minutes.
Bro,
Speaking of
5 minutes.
That is
Let me
true.
tell you,
He did the
time
wrong
flies,
thing.
5 minutes underwater.
speaking of 5 minutes, is that where it all happens back there for 5 minutes on that bed back there? Chief, what's going on?
What do we got back there?
Oh
it's a
my
spare
God.
bedroom. It's a spare.
Oh, all right. We thought that's where it was all happened. We saw the
Yeah.
trapeze stuff you had hanging back there. I don't know what's going on.
Trapeze stuff.
He was
I
doing
don't think-
high angle
I don't think-
stuff up there.
You don't want the story of the sex life of a 74-year-old guy. I would last about 30 seconds. So.
I used to ask my uncle all the time, Chief. I used to say to him all the time. He was like 88 or something like that. And I says, "Oh, you still, you still taking care of it? What are you doing?" He used to go like this, "Nephew, I can hang 2 wet towels on it." That's what he used to say to me all the time.
I don't know why my wife stuck with me for all the years. I put her through some really bad times. I mean, I had some tough times when we first got married. Vietnam bit me in the ass and went off on a drinking tangent. And after 9/11, it got even worse. I started drinking again, and it just, but I found the light. And at the end here, I'm going to give a quick little shout out of.
Well, you found the light and you found a good woman too. So good.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. Nice.
Master's degree. School teacher, master's degree,
and a smart one. You got a really
Yeah.
smart
I'm
one.
smart,
Yeah.
Mikey.
IP, now you can segue.
Yeah,
into
I was
your-
gonna
into your
say
9/11 stuff.
these
Go ahead.
photos. These photos are really moving and good photos, especially considering the day we had yesterday. So, I thought we'd start here. What was your response, Chief, when to 9/11? How fast did you guys get down there?
I'll give it to you in a nutshell, and I know the guys are going to write in and say that's bullshit, but number one, and I was told this in 2002 by one of the acting deputies that came over to our medal day. That was the picture with my wife. That was medal day. They gave me whatever they gave me, and he thanked us. We were the only fire department in the city of New York called to ground zero in the country for mutual aid. We were the only fire department that they called and said, "Come to the scene," and it was a call for a mass service unit. You know what? It's 14,000 people come out of this building and they're in the streets. New York City had a lot of trouble getting their rigs there. And there's a picture later. RMSU pulled right up to Vesey and West Street, right opposite the North Tower, and so and they called us right after the planes hit, and we sent the 3rd Battalion over with Johnny Austin and the guys driving the MSU, Jerry Drennan and Buck Weaver, and they took a dispatcher with them, uniformed dispatcher. He kind of volunteered. He said, "I'll take care of the radios," because we had different radios in the 3rd Battalion car to talk to New York City, etc. And he went with them, and he's the guy that got killed. But they called us right after the 2 planes hit, and realizing they got to start filling air packs. And I guess some of their trucks, some of their MSUs had trouble getting there. And ours got there. It had dozens and dozens of bottles on it, and had the compressor, and they started filling bottles. The New York City guys and taking gear. And I'll tell you something else. I'm going to get out of order here, but the senior guy in New York City that day, what the hell was his name? Who's the senior guy in New York?
Richardson?
No. Nigro.
Oh, Nigro. I mean, sorry. During 9/11.
Senior fireman on the job. His son was there. His son was strapped in one of the buildings.
Figiano?
Yeah.
Oh.
Figiano. No, not Figiano. They're a fireman. He's a fireman. Who's a senior fireman? Oh my God.
I was going to say, boys, is he the one from the
Rescue One? No, from Rescue One. Joey
Angelini?
Joey Angelini.
Yeah.
He showed up off duty, went to our mass service unit and asked if he had any gear, and the guy gave him his gear. And of course, he got killed in a collapse. And they recovered the helmet he had on. And the New York City chief, the acting chief afterwards, called us over to his office to recover it. And that's just one of those trivia questions. But yeah, so we got over there pretty quick. These are my guys. When we went there, I was there. they told me what we needed. We were all stacked up by the Holland Tunnel. I would call. They would send it over. They would assign a New York City officer, whether it was a captain, a lieutenant, or a battalion chief. They would assign an officer to my group, whether it was 10 guys, 12 guys, 14 guys, with a specific objective. And we went and did it. And when we got done, like here, they were taking a break. They would just, this is how you took a break. Just sitting on the steel. It's an amazing story. But we didn't do one thing unless a New York City officer said it. And it, a lot of it came through me. Some of it didn't. I was there 12 hours, but it was, and at the beginning, one of the things, I almost get tears when I was talking about it. And again, I'm jumping all over the place. I got there early on. The 4 guys before me survived both collapses. All right. They were in and around with the North Tower. They made it through all the collapses. I went over a little bit later, and my chief of department, Rick Eggers, said, go to the command post. He knew I knew Ray Downey. Ray invited all our special operations people from Jersey City over to train with them. You know, I knew Ray again from Firehouse Magazine. We got pretty friendly. So Ray was like a real hero to me for a lot of reasons. And my chief said, you know, Ray Downey's going to be there. I know a couple of the guys. He said, you go to the command post. They'll recognize you. He says, you tell them we're ready. So I get to the command post. And of course, when the North Tower fell, it killed everybody in the command post. And I thank God every day I didn't get there any sooner. But that's where I was headed. When I got there, it wasn't there. So here's what happened. I got a white helmet on. I'm the only white helmet for a while. And I must have had 15 New York City guys come up to me, lieutenants, captains, firemen, said, Chief, where should we go? What should we do? You know, and I kept saying, listen, I'm a battalion chief from Jersey City. Go back to Chambers and West. I think EMS is starting to, and I think some of you guys are starting to regroup. I said, go back there. And this kept happening over and over and over again. And you know what? It got to the point where I was embarrassed that I couldn't tell these guys what to do.
Oh, man.
I took my helmet off, and I found a hard hat in a telephone company car that was wrecked. And I put that on. And I think back on it, I said it was so stupid, but I was so embarrassed. And it bothers me to this day. I mean, the only thing that helped me, and there's a picture out there of a guy, a lieutenant, bleeding from the head. He's really messed up. And his 2 guys are dragging him pretty much close to ground zero. And Johnny Austin and I, we come upon this guy, and his fireman runs over to me and he says, Chief, he says, we can't get him to move anymore. He's sitting on a beam. He said, we can't get him to move. You got to order him back. He needs help. He needs help. And I said, I'm from Jersey City. He goes, it doesn't matter. So I walk up to him. You know, I bend over. I said, Lou, I said, do me a favor. Go back to Chambers Street. The EMS is there. And he said, I'm waiting for my guys. He goes, I'm waiting for my guys. My guys are going to catch up to me. And he wouldn't go. And then the fireman grabbed me by the collar, the big burly guy. And he said, Chief, order him back now. And he's getting his face. He said, you got a white helmet on. And you know what? This is New York City at its finest, really, the way I look at it. I got on my hands and knees. I said, Lou, look at me. I said, go back to Chambers and West Street to EMS. And I'm not asking anymore. I'm ordering. He got up, and they dragged him back, all because of the white helmet. And, wow. You know, the fireman was right. He's a New York City fireman. There was a white helmet there. And if I had to fake it, I faked it. But, you know, we had some contact a while back, and he sort of thanked me for saving his life. He said, he's got kids. And so, you know, it's one of those stories that we're going down the street trying to help. And it was just, you know, sometimes I wish I could go back and do it over, but, you know, you can't. And I did what I could do. And I wound up with a company or two, a company and a half from Harlem that came down, and they went into some of the voids and searched, and they wouldn't let me go in because I was the chief, and they took the rope bag and they sort of tied it to me and said, no, you just keep track, make sure we come back. And but again, it was the white helmet. They respected. I mean, the respect these guys have. They didn't, you know, I could have been anybody. I didn't, you know, but because I had a white helmet on, they just like.
Well, that's not a white helmet that you picked up off the street somewhere. You earned that helmet, Chief. So guys,
yeah, so that's,
guys
you know,
respect that, you know.
But you know, the Jersey City guys did all that. The guys that were there first, Jerry Drennan and those guys, and Buck Weaver, they set up a decon area near Chambers and West. They found the holes that worked. They looped it over a light stanchion, and they got stuff to clear out everybody's eyes that was in my Suburban when I got there. And they started deconning people. I mean, right after the North Tower fell, they hundreds and hundreds of people came by them, cleaned out their eyes, firemen, cops, you name it, hosed them off where they could.
That's a heads up. That's a real heads up move.
Yeah, they were doing that. This is Buck Weaver. He was driving the MSU. Buck had a bad back, really couldn't run or walk or anything. But when the North Tower came down, Buck did the 100-yard dash in about 10 seconds.
Picture right there, man. That's like the wall.
Yeah.
He got hit with it when it first came down. You could see his face was all white, and he took off. Like everybody else, nobody could really say. And then he went back and helped out again. And there was another thing that Johnny Austin did with his guys. Early on, a cop came to me and said, "Chief," two cops grabbed me and said, "Chief." I said, "What?" He said, "We got reports of bombs in the school. There's a school on the corner there. I forget what it was.
High school.
Yeah, high school."
Yep.
And I said, "What?" I said, "Yeah, we got reports of bombs in the gym and in the school." He says, "You got to help." I said, "Well, where are the kids?" He said, "They're all in the auditorium." I said, "Fuck, what am I going to do?" So they dragged me over to the school. Johnny Austin, the battalion chief, 3rd Battalion, he comes down with his guys, and they took all the kids out, said, "Come out the back." They took them over to the Hudson River and walked north and got all those kids out, thinking these cops said, "Listen," first they said there's bombs in the building, and then they said, "You got to be careful, there's snipers in the higher buildings." I mean, so there's so much stuff in the first hour going on. It was like, it was ridiculous. But you know what? This is when my Vietnam thing kicked in. I kind of felt like, you know what? I don't give a fuck. I'm going to do what I have to do.
Yeah.
And, I felt invincible then, but I just, you know what? I'm not running away, and I'm not a hero by any means, but it just, you know what? It was just, I went back and did what I had to do, and
hey, listen, we're grateful for that. I mean, we got knocked on our ass, and you were one of the guys that helped to pick us up.
That's why military guys. We need more military guys. for that reason.
I mean, I see this picture and it freaks me out because I think about Felicia, my wife, she like running from the scene because that's what she was doing when she went to school right down there. So she was running and covered in that shit too. It's awful.
There was, on the Buff channel, whenever you listen to the radio and stuff, the guy that got killed in Jersey City, Joe Lavero, he got out of the car when it happened, and he ran up to the North Tower, and he was helping his battalion chief get people out of the North Tower. Then came down and got hit in the chest with a piece of debris. And a couple of off-duty firemen got him in an ambulance that was abandoned, drove over the debris like they were four-wheeling, got him to St. Vincent's. And he died before they could do anything for him. He died in St. Vincent's. But the only 3 people that made it to St. Vincent's in the first few hours were Pete Gansey, Father Michael Judge, and Joe Lavero. Joe Lavero from Jersey City. That's an absolute fact. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that Pete Gansey made it there. Wow. Yeah. He was in a command post when the North Tower came down. So it was all these little stories. But I'm really proud of Jersey City. I mean, for the fact that there was no freelancing. We when the first task force came over with Pete Greasy, was in the rescue. They waited there for this guy, the officer, to come, and then gave him an assignment. And it was like that every time after that. We kept track of our guys. There's a picture of 16 guys coming over on a garbage barge pulled by a tugboat. Because the guy said, "Hey, listen, use my tugboat. I got a barge." And we would send 16 guys over, bring 16 guys back. And that's the way it was. These are the guys. They were on their way back.
Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. All these guys work really hard. They're dirty and doing anything that they were supposed to do.
You know what? That's what the fire service is all about, and that's what's.
I remember seeing
being an American is all about.
I mean, I remember seeing days after, weeks after, there were guys from everywhere.
I'll give you one last regret, and then we can get off of 9/11. But I got back after 12 hours, and I get back, and I said to the chief, I want to go home. I wanted to go home, and he said, "No, you can't go home." And then he gets a phone call, and he says, "Bobby," he goes, "you got to go back over." And I said, "I can't." He said, "You got to go back over." He said, "They found Joe's body. He's in St. Vincent's emergency room. We're putting him in the morgue. You have to identify the body for the family." Now, I knew his family. His brother was on a job with me, Mike. I knew his family. And I said, "I can't. I couldn't go back." And the Chief Eggie said to me, he goes, you're going back. He said, you have to go back. I'm ordering you. You go back. And I said, I'm not going back. I said, I'm going out to my car and going home. I don't, at that point, I didn't care if I got fired or whatnot. I started walking out, and there was a deputy at Timmy Carney. He said, Bobby, just wait a minute. He said, just go sit down downstairs. So I go back in finally, and the chief says to me, he goes, Bobby, listen, it's okay. He goes, I got somebody else to go. He says, you stay here, have a cup of coffee with us, and just hang out. And what Timmy said to him when I walked out the first time, Timmy said to him, Chief, did you look in his eyes? Did you look at Bobby's eyes? And the chief said, well, why? He says, look in his eyes. He said, you know what? He's shot. And I went back in, and I regret that, though. I should have jumped at the chance to identify the body for the family, and I didn't. So.
Yeah, but you've been through enough in your life, right? And you've seen this. You've seen some things besides the war, which was enough for you.
It's easy to do that now.
To
say I could have done this, I should have done that.
Yeah, exactly.
In hindsight, yeah, but you know what? You're not feeling the things that you were feeling at that time and everything that was built up.
But also,
everybody has that.
As a reminder to everyone, who may be young, who wasn't there that day. I don't know if everyone remembers, but it felt like the sky was falling that day. You had the WTC being hit, you had the Pentagon, you had Shanksville, and then there were all these other reports coming in, and you thought, this is it. This is like I picked like Red Dawn, like some Russian invasion movie. That's how you felt that day. Like you felt all the worst thing, every worst thing that could happen was happening all at once. So given your history, don't beat yourself up over that, sir. Please.
Do we have time for one more story?
Hit it. Come on.
Well, it's emotional for me, but I want to get through it, and I think you guys would appreciate this. Father Michael Judge was my parish priest in West Milford, New Jersey. All right, little Franciscan church up there. I don't know where he came from, but he came. He was a great guy. Loved the volleys. This guy loved firemen. Got really friendly with them. And then finally he gets his chance to go back to New York. He becomes the New York City chaplain, but he was a great guy. I knew him really well. I know he got killed there, and I didn't know it. I just in my 12 hours, I didn't know who died and who didn't die, but he died a hero. And I played my pipes at his first birthday the following year with his family. He's buried out here in New Jersey, and I played my pipes for him, and I'm just a super nice guy. But the irony to the story is when he was in West Milford, he helped baptize my daughter, Suzanne. Suzanne was born on 9/11/79.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah,
No way.
Yeah.
Holy
so
shit.
Yeah.
Very ironic, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's it. That's my story for 9/11.
Let's move on to let's move it on.
Heavy.
Yes. Okay. Because it's almost that time, but I just want to touch on quickly. You said after you retired in 2009, you started working Versic ISO director. So give us a little brief synopsis of that, and then we'll get into that time, Pete.
Real quick. ISO is Insurance Services Office. They grade fire protection in almost every state, not all, but almost every one. And their data and an analysis gets passed along to the insurance industry. I think back then it was like 9 out of 10 largest insurers use the data, and they use that in their mix. They throw that into the bowl, and that helps determine your homeowner's insurance. And for a commercial building with sprinklers and stuff, it could be a major fact. And if the sprinklers aren't working, and there's reports there's a lot goes into it, but that's what they did. So after Charleston was a class 1. Charleston had the highest ranking you could get for fire protection. And I know for a fact from knowing the fire service, the class 1 had nothing to do with those 9 guys getting killed. Their strategy, because ISO does not grade strategy and tactics. They stop grading you once the fire truck gets there. They grade training. They grade your deployment. They grade your equipment. They grade some of your SOPs on incident command. Anything that would help put a fire out right away. So they took a bad hit in Charleston, and they decided they needed somebody from the fire service to kind of look at what they were doing, make the changes necessary. And it was me. And it was because the vice president, Mike Waters, who a life-saving person to me, what a great guy. He was the volley chief down in South Jersey. And he had seen me speak a few times at Firehouse, and he said, this guy can speak pretty well, and blah, blah, blah. I didn't check all the boxes for education, but they took a chance. They rolled the dice and hired me. Maybe the national director said, make some changes, make the fire service look at us as an important piece of the puzzle. And I did. And but they had fire protection engineers from the University of Maryland. They had every guy on my project team to change how they graded had fire experience, either volunteer or retired. And we did. And the fire service came back to them. And you know what? They do it for nothing. And they give you this booklet when they're done about your fire department, what you need to do to improve, what's good about it. So it's not only good for the fire service, but it's really good for the individual fire departments. Who gives the fire service something for nothing anymore? And that's what they do. And it's all data driven. Some insurance companies use their data 100%. Others take this, that, and the other thing. But I could tell you, and I say this all the time, the three most important things for a fire department are staffing. The more people you have, the quicker you put the fire out. Training and deployment. And I could show you 10 years, 15, 20 years of data that shows two fire departments going to the same house fire. Whether it's a one-story, you take two fire departments, one a class 4, one a class 1, and the check going that the insurance company gives to the owner is thousands of dollars less for that class 1 department, and they're giving a bigger check to a class 4. So that's why, the insurance companies think the data is really, really important to them. They can make decisions. So that's it. That was it on that. It was a good 3 years. I loved it. Did too much traveling. I wake up in the morning sometimes and say to my wife, I don't know where I am. I think I'm in Oklahoma.
You said you were everywhere, right? You did everything.
I went to Alaska. I talked to lieutenant governors, state fire commissioners, fire chiefs. Every night when I was away, I tried to eat a meal in a firehouse. I wanted to see what was going on. I met some great guys, some good fire departments.
Sounds cool.
So that was that. That was my short, and they paid pretty well too.
Well, that's always nice.
That's on height.
Yeah.
All right.
You really haven't done much in your life then, huh, Chief?
Yeah, no, not too much.
Not too busy. No.
Turned 65, but I kept going to conferences. I still get invited to conferences. I love that. I did the FDIC. Johnny Salker, and I hate to drop a line, but him and I have a great program called The Experience of Firefighting. And it's not anti-scientist, but we just show you how experience has worked in the fire service for a long time. And I'll give you one quick thing. I'm a data-driven guy since I work for ISO, but civilians dying in the place where they live has gone up like almost 24%. And a good thing, firefighters dying in a smoke-filled burning building, not just inside a smoke-filled burning building. There was 1 year, it was 1, and there was another year, it was 5, and then it was a 6. So when you look at that, I just see too many people out there. I hate to get into this, and I know people are going to hate me and say, what does he know? He sucks. But you know what? And John and I use this. The building's not vacant of occupants until you go in and find out, period. That's all I want to say about it.
Yeah.
So.
All right, Petey. Do your thing, bro. Do it.
Let me just say this, guys. We're about to hit the old school tip of the day, but before we do, it's the First Responders Center for Excellence health and safety tip of the day, you guys. So first and foremost, the First Responders Center for Excellence is a not-for-profit organization dedicated to protecting the lives and livelihoods of first responders. Their education and research initiatives aim to bring greater awareness and understanding to the challenges of the health, safety, and well-being of firefighters, EMS personnel, and other first responders. The goal is to reduce line-of-duty injuries and deaths, as well as occupational illnesses. They are an affiliate of the National Fallen Firefighter Foundation. Now, today's old school safety tip of the day is, while there is no silver bullet or one single action that firefighters can take to protect themselves, there are many small actions they can take to minimize their risk of occupational illness. And they can do that by taking their camera out on their smartphone, looking at that QR code right now on our screen, and heading over to the firstrespondercenter.org,
Do it.
where
Do it.
you guys will get
Just do it.
all the information on how to take care of yourself. Right, guys? I mean, they just got to
Make
do
it
it.
any easier than that? Honestly, could it be any easier than that?
Yeah. Why ignore something
Do
like
it.
that? It's, you're not being macho. You know what I mean? It's not.
You want to live. Listen, you like being a fireman. You want to live for a while. You want to live after you retire. You want to take care of your wife, your kids, your grandkids. Take care of yourself and your health, please. Will you? I don't want to have to tell you again. I'll give you a backhand. Do it.
Yeah, you don't want Kev giving you a backhand.
The only thing easier than that would be like
Unless you're tall.
and share. Yeah. Unless you're tall, then I'll have to jump up and give you a backhand.
And you don't want that.
Never underestimate a little guy, though. I can tell you that much.
And now, guys, probably the most important part of our show, guys, as you know it, the old school tip of the day. Take it away, Chief.
All right, Chief, do it. What do you
Do
got?
it.
I got a couple, but I want to preface it but with one thing. Experience is the foundation for knowledge. So I don't care if you're the smallest fire department in the United States. If you have two guys in your department that have been to two fires, their experience, you got to drag what they experienced in those two fires and get it into your head. Because it could be simple as, oh yeah, well, the hose line was a lot heavier than I thought. Oh, I had trouble finding which way to turn the nozzle. It could be something very simple, but experience is where you get your knowledge from, I think. I mean, you can read every book in the world, but you need to find guys that have experience in your fire company, in your fire department, big, small, medium, whatever it is. You need to get every drop of experience from them and use it to make that badge shine. The other two things, when I was out traveling, I did a lot of rescue and trap firefighters. I did it for the Worcester guys after they lost 6. We did a training program with them. But my motto then was to firemen is train like your life depends on it. All right, train like, if this happened tomorrow, what do I do to get out of it? Because all my training was hands-on scenario based, and we threw everything we could at them. And so, you know what? For firemen, train like your life depends on it. And then when I went around to other departments for other training things, my logo was train like their lives depend on it. All right, now we're away from you. Train like their lives, the people that are paying your salary, the people that waiting for you. You train like their lives depend on it, because it does. All right, if somebody dies in a fire because of negligence or shame on you. So they're my 3 things. Experience is the cornerstone for knowledge. Train you like your life depends on it, because it might, or your buddies, and train like their lives depend on it. Don't stop training. Hands-on training. I mean, I never stopped. I mean, I don't do hands-on training anymore, but I go to the FDIC fires. I go into classes. I want to hear what's going on. Oh, you know what? But that's it. Train, and train. Don't stop. Be proud of the
Never
badge.
stop. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What about train?
So wait, are you training as well, or? Nice.
You know what? It's the only thing that I ever wanted to do was just, and I'm so grateful. People came to the seminars and conferences, and the guys in Worcester, all the places that we went, because I wanted to raise as much money as possible for the wives and kids, and it always worked out. They're great firemen up there, great fire department, and do I have like 10 seconds to say one more thing?
Of course, go for it. Go for
All right,
it.
so at the beginning, guys, I was talking about making kids and people remember 9/11. I've been doing a program for about 17 years, and it's called Never Forget Means Never Forget. I put it together. It's an up close and personal view of Jersey City combined with the New York City guys of what happened. I've got some great videos that were given to me that I don't think anybody's ever seen. I've done it in schools. I've done it all Jersey, but it started the last few years. I would have like 6 people show up, 7 people show up, I've done it for the FBI, the DEA. I've done it for businesses. And everybody says to me, I wouldn't have known what happened unless I saw that program. And I just did it with Harley Davidson, Scottsdale. They're my people up there, and they give me their theater. The last time I did it in Harley Davidson, I had 11 people. And for some reason, and this made me feel good, when I did this program, it's about an hour long, I had 72 people in the room. And I was shocked. And I'm trying to, why the comeback? Why the interest? And there were kids in there. Arizona, thank God for the great teachers in Arizona. There's a law in Arizona that says 9/11 has to be taught in the
Love that state.
You know what?
Wow.
My daughter's getting me to come in. There's some other teachers that are friends, and I did last thing. I did a high school once for my son-in-law as a teacher. I was going to do kids, and then the board of ed said, "Would you mind if we had some high school kids come also?" It was like 7th and 8th, and I said, "Yeah, fine." And then they called me back and said, "Can the parents come?" And I went from doing a program for
10 people,
20 people. There were like 300 people when it all said and done. And I met Lee Ialepi.
Yeah.
And I told him what I was doing. I met him at the museum, and he sent me, a whole bunch of stuff to add to the program. And he said, "Thank God that you're doing it on the other side of the Mississippi." I continue to do it. I just did it for Harley Davidson. And if somebody calls me, I never take a dime. If they want to pay me, I would tell them donate it to somebody. But just along those lines, I'm trying to keep it for me. I want everybody to remember. I want everybody to remember the sacrifice, not just the fire guys, the cops and whatnot. I do a little bit on the police. You got to remember that. I mean, it was like the
Never
worst
forget
day.
means never forget, right?
Yeah, that's the name of the program.
Where do they find that, Chief?
It's not online. I just have it. Somebody
Well, how
calls
do they
me.
get in contact with you? You have an email, or you want to throw up
My
something?
email address out there. Put my email address out there, and I'll talk. I'll go anywhere, anytime. I will do anything for anybody. And I don't care if 2 people show up or 2,000 people show up. It's just it's a good.
You know what we'll do, Ruff? Can you put that in the description?
I'll put it in the description. I will.
Look at me. Look at me.
The rest
running
of
this
the
stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. I did it for the FBI and the DEA because I do a little bit about adversity, how to overcome adversity, because they have a lot of young agents that have a hard time with the failed mission. So they loved it, but I love the schools. I love going to the schools and the kids, and I have programs for age groups. I'm not showing people jumping out of the building to 6th graders or 5th graders. I had 3 kids come in with their parents, and I called the parents up to the podium. I said, "Listen," I said, "It's too late for me, but I can't take it out." I said, "I have the North Tower coming down, and a couple of people jumping before it comes down." And the guy said to me, "I want my kids to see it." And they were like 6, 7 years old, and he said, "I want them to see it." So anyway, all right, I talk too much. I know you probably.
Not at all.
Well
Nice
done,
work.
Chief.
Well done. I like your career there.
That Salka, he might have had a good one. He might have picked a good one this time, I think.
I'm gonna see you guys. We'll be out there. We'll be doing our class, and we'll come by. I mean,
all right. Listen, this may happen around noon. We start drinking in the booth. It may or may not happen. So if you want to come by for a quick one,
I'm in.
All right,
I'm in. Stop by.
Never happened, by the way. No,
All right,
I've never seen
Looking
alcohol.
forward to seeing you.
Yes.
Yeah, I got to tell you, you guys are heroes. Everybody in the fire service. Nobody's doing this like this. And I got to commend all of you. I really.
A hero ain't nothing but a sandwich.
No. Actually, I am a hero, and I'm kidding. That's
I got one up from the rug. My brother used to tell me that when I went to the squad. A hero ain't nothing but a sandwich. So take care of yourself. Be safe. All right.
Yeah.
That's
all right.
Let
me do my shout outs here. What do I got?
Yeah, bro.
All right. First of all, Petey and I want to come see producer Pete. We'll be at Wildwood September 15th through the 17th, I believe it is. Yes. And we will be in, where did I put it? In the booth with our boys, Jamie and Big Bill from One Source. And it will be at the, where is it located? In this space in the ball field 1, right inside the entrance off Ocean Avenue, across from the stage. That's where we will be. Come see me and Pete. They have a large variety of Phoenix TL2 leather helmets for sale with a show special pricing. So come and see those boys. They have a whole bunch of other stuff too, and you'll see Pete.
And Jamie smells good.
And Jamie smells good, right?
Yeah, I hear he's buying dinner too.
He is. And also, I forgot we met Pee Wee yesterday too. Pee Wee was at the firehouse.
Pee Wee's great too.
I knew I was going to leave somebody out.
Hung out with him a lot.
And my boy Spencer Bausch is in the chat. Love that guy. Great guy. And one more thing. I'm sorry. Me, Roofy, and Cliffy Bear. We just saw the bear yesterday. We will be out at the Firehouse Magazine Expo the 28th, 29th, and 30th. Out in Ohio, booth 1802. Come out and see us. And we're doing the show shirt design. So that's just us, exclusive to us. If you want that shirt for that show, Firehouse Mag put Louie and I, these two guys, in charge of that.
Can you imagine?
Can you imagine that?
What are they thinking?
Yes. And on one sad note, Chief Steve reached out to me today, and a very young man, only 28 years old, Michael Gebert from Engine 324. They're in with the division, succumbed to cancer. He was a good kid.
Goodness.
He was fighting cancer his whole life. He got it when he was a kid. It came back later on in his life, and then it just came back again. Then he passed away. St. John's graduate kid, good kid, Middle Village kid, Ruffy. So God bless him and his family. And that's all I got, Pete. It's all up to you now.
Yeah. I just want to say one quick thing. Every day should be.
What?
I'll go home and get your fucking shine box.
I thought you were gonna do a different one. But
every single day should be September 12th, 2001. It was a horrible day, but also the most unifying day that I've ever experienced in my life. So just keep that in mind, guys, as we move forward as a nation, as a community. September 12th, 2001, how you felt that day. You were hurt, but we were together.
Well, right? Well said, Pete.
Yeah, man. So
all the days after that. Remember Shea Stadium when Mike Piazza hit that home run, everybody went crazy.
Oh my God, that was the best.
That was the best. And today happened to be September 12th. So always carry that feeling. I mean, that's what gets me through remembering.
Yes.
And, we still have it in us, guys. We're still America. We're still the greatest country on the face of this planet. So let's be patriots together.
Like you said, the show, I do love the show. I love all the guys. I love the community. I love them so much, I invite them to my house to stay for a weekend or so. You know what I mean? So
they sleep. They're all sleeping at your house. And poor Anna's losing her mind. No wonder she spends a month in the Philippines.
That's the kind of guy I am. Like, next year,
look, I got a spare bedroom if you want to come visit. You're familiar with it.
Oh, he's out in Arizona. We're supposed to do a show at the Hall of Flame. Is that near you anywhere?
Oh my God, I know everybody there. Yeah.
Oh, we might be doing a show from there. So why don't you save that 4-post bed for me and Louie, and we might be out there sometime.
If you guys are there, I'll be there.
Pete sleeps on the couch. We get the 4-post bed.
That's fine.
All right, Pete, do your thing, brother.
Okay, guys. Well, last but not least, you guys know the deal. Very quickly tonight, we're going to go through this audio. You should be listening to us. If you cannot watch the show, you can listen on all the players, iTunes, Spotify, wherever, what have you. We're everywhere. We are everywhere. But also, if you're here at youtube.com/Gettin Salty Experience, hit that like, subscribe, and share. You guys are our number one syndicators and sponsors. We can't do it without you. And I'm just... You know what, guys? We love you. We honor you. Just hit us back, man. Get us back by hitting that subscribe button. It's no big thing. Let's get that up to 100,000. Let's start there before we get to the big mill. You know what I'm saying? That would be 10% of the firefighters in the country. All right, and then some around the world. It would be nice.
I don't see why we can't.
Why not? Listen, the firefighters are the most capable community on earth.
Do it.
And I just want everyone watching the show because I think it's that good. So,
he likes it so much he just kicked himself out.
Hey, I'm part of the team now.
All right, yes. What's up there, producer Cobb?
Okay. And
I really like this show when it's like this.
And Instagram, guys. If you're on Instagram, find us at Salty Dog Inc. Where Mr. Refrendo curates the best photos. GettinSaltyApparel.com, where you will find the finest firefighter apparel and accessories in the game. Thank you to everyone tonight who hooked us up in the super chat. We appreciate your support always, even 1 shekel or 2 shekels. You know, we judge everything by shekels now in this inflated economy, but we appreciate all the shekels. Thank you so much. Guys, also our super thanks is kind of like the Patreon of YouTube. Hit us up there if you can. We appreciate every little bit. It helps us out a lot. Facebook, guys, Getting Salty Fans page. We are 47 or 8,000 strong in there. I'm trying to figure out why people are getting booted for some reason. I think it's just like a crawler, like a Facebook thing. So we've gotten a couple people back. We're trying to work on a couple guys, like my friend Matt there. We'll get you back in. Don't worry. Just hang in there. Getting Salty ads, ads@gmail.com. If you guys want to advertise with the show, listen, we have a lot of different ad tiers, a lot of different structures, a lot of different ways we could do this. So hit me up and I'll give you our spiel. We're not ridiculously expensive, believe it or not. And if you want to get whatever it is that you're doing on the show, hit us up. We'd love to have you on board. Getting Salty Experience at gmail.com, guys, for questions for the show, for our Q&As. Coob's Podcast at gmail.com for all of the cocklofts and cocktails, the news and views of the fire department. That's helmet cam footage. Doesn't have to be yours, just has to be cool. Fire photos, rig photos, hot old lady contest, tattoos, mustaches, all the good stuff.
Tables, the rigs. Don't forget to send in
firehouses.
Health and safety tips now. We'll be reading them.
Health and safety tips. And also, guys, make sure you leave your name and where you're from and what house you're at. If you guys want us to put that on the air, because it like comes in empty, and we want to give you guys the fame and the love that you deserve as well for supporting us and contributing to our show. So that, my friends, is all the news that's fit to print, you Jersey Devils. Oh! All right. Here we are.
Chief, it was an honor.
Yes,
You had a great career and a great life.
Thank you. Yeah, you guys are great. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
We will see you in 2
guys
weeks.
like you.
We'll see you out in Ohio in 2 weeks.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. We like free. Right, Pete? Right, Lou? Yes.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. We won't see you Thursday. Pete and I will see you live down in Wildwood if you come out and see us. Otherwise, we'll be back, I think, next Monday.
Looking forward to it.
All right,
Can't
guys.
wait to see everybody.
Stay low and go.
All right, everybody. We'll see you at the big one.
And Chief, just hang with us. We're gonna see you after the show's over off the air. Hang tight. All right. Cheers, everybody.